Okay, everybody, welcome to the show. It is I, Chillmonger, being joined by the go-to SSJK Deuce. Say your name, sir.
SSG Kid Out Sanctum, the first white Super Saiyan to ever arrive on this Chillmonger-ish planet.
To ever arrive on this Wakanda, ever arrive on Vibranium. Oh,
What?
white T-shirt. Hey, there it is. Let's go over the trailer and chit chat over it. I was not a very fond of this trailer. I watched it over on Ashley's channels where I reacted to it when we were doing the Hall H reactions, like kind of live reactions.
I didn't get to watch your guys' full stream.
Really?
Yeah, I was think I was working when. No, yeah, I was getting ready for work and I was on my way to work, so I didn't get to watch the full stream.
You
When
never
I
had the
came in the
time?
trolling, I didn't get the chance to watch the whole thing. So I trolled for a little bit, left, and then had to get ready for work.
Mhm. It's actually a Bob Marley song that a woman is singing over.
No.
As
I like
far
the
as
way
like,
she's singing over it. The song is really beautiful in the trailer. Probably the best thing about the trailer, the song.
yeah, I saw the guy who cut up the trailer and he was like, he was a white guy. I was surprised to hear that.
Woman, don't cry.
As far as plot goes, yeah, we can see that this is the Namor temples, the Aztec freaking, or the Mayan, one or the others. But it's their culture, and there's things to dig into if you really want to treat it like a superhero movie with plot and
Oh,
a
you think she's
setting.
not in Wakanda in this scene?
Yeah, she's not in Wakanda. That's not Wakandan culture. That little pyramid over there.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I see it.
Let me get that 1080p. What am I doing?
Sorry, guys. I'm eating cereal, so you don't see my face.
Don't shed no tear.
So with all of these, like it's the same guy with the lip. It's that same.
Old lady.
What? Yeah. What was she? The which tribe was it? Water tribe, maybe.
I think the water, the bata. I think
But
she
she
was the
held it
water
down.
tribe. I think
She
she was
was
the
on,
water tribe.
and Wakabi was on another tribe that wasn't hers. But Wakabi was a representative also for the border tribe.
Yeah, the
I guess
border
not
tribe,
anymore.
and then Nakie was the trading tribe or something. Tribe
River.
that
No,
would
she was
trade.
River tribe.
The river tribe.
I can see Ayo over here. Looks like Ayo's gonna have more of a role, and then we got Okoye here, and we got Queen Ramonda. Again, it's hard to look into this as like a trailer where we're looking at like, what does this mean for the movie? Because all I can think about is how it started off really, really sad, and I can only imagine that Nakia here in this scene is thinking about her dead beloved, and I know that that's what they're going for here, and I feel
Yeah.
it's exploitative.
Don't shed no tear.
It does look beautiful though.
No.
This here. So when I saw this, I was kind of like, no, man, they really are doing basically a funeral. You know what I mean? It is all white because, it's about the future. It's a happy moment. We're celebrating life. However, I know that
That dude on the far right looks a little American-ish. Looks like a little, that might be African American. I don't think that's a pure African.
look at those shoes. What are those?
They got some Wakandan drip, nice sandals and stuff.
No cry.
That didn't look like Shuri at first, but that
This
is
is
Shuri.
definitely the funeral sequence. Now to the left, who is that? Who's that Latino dude, or is that a light skinned black dude? I was overthinking, was that Namor or something or whatever?
Woman, no cry.
Looks
Good
like a
question.
Hispanic dude.
That's the lighting. It's the lighting.
And good friends we've lost.
Wakanda right here.
Yeah, but like, what? Let's be real with ourselves, guys. What was this really doing? This was just like a slow shot of Wakanda. It's sad. You got the sun setting. Like you're supposed to feel like the man died, and the studio is using his death to promote their movie.
Yeah, they
What's going
tried to
on,
get us.
TJ? What's going on, Sienna? What's going on,
I'm
Ida
just
Labis?
so surprised I didn't cry during this trailer. I didn't cry at all.
You didn't cry?
I didn't cry. I thought I was. I didn't cry at all during the trailer. I felt sad, but I didn't cry at all.
Okay, we got two jokes here that are competing with each other. One is that was Cisco's cousin, and the other is that was the real Chillmonger. Get out of here.
Hey, it could be. It could be. Could be.
This is the real
It might be
Chillmonger.
you. I'm not judging. It might be you. Probably snuck into this movie.
Oh boy.
I love day.
Right. They slam their things. Now, if you read all of the words here, I keep pausing at the wrong time. It keeps cutting to black. But these words here on the side, these vertical words, they're like things that have to do with T'Challa. I can't remember what exactly it was, but it is
So
again.
what are these logos? Are they like the different tribes, or
Would they be the different tribes? Which one's River Tribe?
like looks maybe this horse is what is a seahorse or something? This is a sun. That's a tree. I think maybe it might be representing the tribes or just something specific for the ritual of death and not the ritual of death, but the ritual of their funerals. How they do their funerals in Wakanda. These probably mean something for people going to the afterlife.
Yeah, it's got to have a meaning, even though I can't put my finger on it. But judging by how I knew that these words were like "rest in peace" and stuff like that, then yeah, that's got to be related to the whole death
Did they have the
cycle.
funeral for the dad in the first movie?
And actually, no, we didn't, and it's supposed to happen right after the dad died.
Yeah. They didn't have a funeral for the dad. They kind of glossed over that. They skipped right into let's make T'Challa Black Panther. Well, let's
I mean,
make him officially King and Black Panther.
I'm kind of happy that they didn't do that because then it would have been like a repeat of a story.
Right.
In this great future.
Why is she over at the water? See, Wakanda on the map, it's not next to any ocean, but she is. That means she's outside of like the throne room. She shouldn't be this far out. And she's I saw a funny joke. Somebody said Shuri is crying because Wakandans are taking the vaccine.
Damn.
That was some hilarious stuff. Look,
That's messed up.
the pregnant
Now, I
woman.
think this is, I don't want to spoil it for people. I'm not sure if they've seen the leaks. If they've seen the leaks, I think this is the birthing of whose baby.
Except, is it the same person? Watch in a second. We see the 3 wrists loops, right? What do you call the wristbands? Watch.
Yeah.
Are they there anymore? I can't really tell.
Now, that hair does, and it doesn't look like her. It doesn't look like Nikie. That looks like somebody else because she has darker skin. This person's skin is light skin.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I think this is Namor. This could be Namor and stuff.
But is that the same scene as this? Because this woman might not be this woman here. And this is Namor because look at the ankle. You're going to see wings on the ankle.
Namor.
See little ankle wings. It's Namor. Yeah. Being born underwater, umbilical cord and all. From director Ryan Coogler, we know. They did Namor. I can talk about why I don't believe that race swapping Namor is a good idea. And I will. Let's stop the video. Let's talk about it.
Isn't Namor Asian in the comics? He looks Asian.
Namor since Jump guy was created in like the 30s, the 40s. He's a white guy. Okay, always been white guy. Now you may have a little bit of darker tone to him now.
Yeah.
And when I say a little bit darker, I really do mean a little bit. And he's sort of ambiguous because he's underwater and because today's standards, year 2022, maybe they started even 10 years back, but they were like, oh, everyone's so white. There's no reason why we can't make him a little darker here. And then year after year, he'd get a little bit darker. Okay.
But I think my bigger issue is them adding in all the Aztec and Mayan stuff. Cause I was like, I don't know that much about Namor, but I know for a fact that stuff is not like deep into his lore, like Mayan and Aztec culture. Like the way he's dressed and stuff, this is very Mayan, Aztec culture. Mm-hmm. And Namor does not dress like this. He doesn't wear this stuff.
Well, this iteration for this version of the movies, he does. They're trying to say, like, look, we can't use the Atlantis culture, but culture is still a part of Namor here. Let's make people who are from this side of the world happy. I disagree with it. I
mean, you can still, like, with the Atlantis, it can be a culture of, like, well, the Atlantis, I mean, they're blue people. Some of them are blue. Namor is the only one who's not blue. I mean, you can have some of them that are blue, some of them that look black, some that look white, and Asian, whatever. Like, it don't have to be like a Aztec, Mayan specific thing. Because like in Aquaman, the Atlanteans, it was all different colors and stuff. There was white, Asian, black, so.
Good point. TJ says there is really fine line between exploitative and honoring. In my opinion, I get how anyone can see either side, and I don't think we'll know which is which anytime soon. No, I know. I saw the trailer, and they used a picture of a dead man who is no longer going to be part of this franchise. They said they wanted to honor him and continue his legacy, but by killing his legacy, by
Yep.
killing the hard work he put into, because the actor is a different guy than the role of T'Challa. Like, they're two separate things. So to honor it is, never mind, man. Okay, the main authority now, he says, the light skinned bro he asked about is you, and the dark American is Cisco's cousin.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to honor it is to continue. It's like we today, whose legacy do black activists of today honor? The previous
Malcolm
black
X.
activists who came before, right? We don't stop their work, right? We're continuing their work. Well, not saying me, but like the black activists who are out there protesting, creating programs, helping out children and stuff, all these things. They're continuing the legacy of the people in the civil rights movement, the slaves who fought to get us our freedom that we have today. We're continuing their legacy. We're honoring their legacy by continuing their work and keeping it up. Yeah, I mean, you honor stuff by, in a way, keeping it up. It's like if my dad had a company and gave it to me, and it's his legacy. Do we end the company because he died? No, we keep pushing.
Yeah, Vince McMahon just retired from the WWE, and are they going, oh, that's it for Vince? Okay, no, what's happening?
Nobody else can be Vince McMahon. It's over. No one else can do it. He's the only one.
His family is continuing it. His family is now the CEO. The director of creative is his son-in-law right now. People are continuing what he did. And I know why he's leaving, and it's sort of a little bit different. So maybe that is not it. It is definitely not the perfect example. But continuing something when someone is no longer there is honoring. But to say, hey, that thing that you worked really hard on is now dead. The character that you put work in is no longer here. In a universe where you have recasted, Hulk was recasted and Rhodey was recasted. Both of those characters.
I want to see if they're gonna do a big funeral for William Hurt in the next Hulk movie he shows up in.
Oh, how will they?
I wonder if they're gonna do a big funeral and a mural and all this stuff. I wonder if they're gonna do it for William Hurt because he played General Ross and he died too. When are we gonna honor him too?
Been in more movies.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel that's apples and oranges. I beat you to it. Yeah, it is apples to oranges. It is not the best example when we're talking about what's his name, Vince McMahon. But when it comes to somebody dying, I'm sure that if I really thought about it, there's an example of somebody dying, and like nobody stopped playing basketball when James Naismith died. It's so somebody created something. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did all these characters. They didn't retire the Spider-Man character. They and Steve Ditko. They didn't. They just continued. They furthered. They continued to tell the story and keep him in. And I don't like that there's this obstacle for the Black Panther who had so many obstacles to get to where he got to. And all of a sudden, okay, the actor died. Huge obstacle. Very sad news. It's terrible. But he's the greatest superhero. He is the Jackie Robinson of superheroes. He made it. 1.3 billion. And you're telling me that we're gonna have to roll the dice again, see what happens with Shuri, see what happens with I guess Falcon becoming Captain America, see what happens with Blade, see what happens. We have the greatest, we have the best. What's going on, Skip and Tosh? I feel like it's an unneeded obstacle. You really did not need to do this where you kill the character. We're not even talking about casting and recasting. We're talking about killing the character, making you feel sad. What's going on, Elliot? You want to link Elliot? I'll send you a DM. He says using the Vince comparison is slightly off. Guys, I know I said it was a bad example when I said it. He steps down and his family take over. Same if he had passed away, his family would take over. I guess that's what's going on here.
But is the family still continuing Vince's work though?
They are, because they love him and they want things to continue.
The
family of Chadwick, Derek Boseman.
They're not killing what you built. It's like I said with the example with the example with the civil rights movement and what we as Black individuals did to get to where we at. We didn't, when Martin Luther King died, his family and everyone else, did we stop fighting for our civil rights?
No, you know what they did?
died?
They took the FBI to
Kept
court
going,
and they won that case that proved that they were part of his death.
kept it going, kept it going. You can't stop it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like I'm not saying we're not recasting someone else to be MLK, but we're not discontinuing the work that they did.
Yeah. And Derek Bozeman, the brother of Chadwick, has an interview on TMZ. He said what my brother would have wanted was for the character to be recasted. Like everything we look at from the history of what Chadwick Boseman gave us, from every interview and from every single like tidbit of knowledge getting into who this man was, it furthers the character, and that's what he wants. He wants you guys not to see himself as the actor. He's like, no, the character is what is important. It's what you need to see. He was sending text messages to Roland Martin saying this, and Roland Martin, I guess you could say Roland Martin was lying. I'm ready for all you guys in the live chat. But like that was the text messages that were being sent between the two of them back when Chadwick Boseman was looking a little bit skinny, and he was just asking about him, because he was concerned. That's Chadwick wants to recast. Honoring someone is listening to what they do, guys. If, like, for example, let's say
Even
the worst happens to me.
Chadwick's brother said it. Chadwick's brother said recast, and I think he was the one who said, "I'm not trying." I think TMZ did a video, and his brother said that Chadwick would have wanted the character's role to continue.
It wasn't a video interview. That's a separate interview where his brother was talking to someone from the church, from the religious
Yeah.
community, and he said, "You know what? Hollywood doesn't want the image of a black man being a king." He
Right.
said it like a little woke shit.
And that's
like
coming
that.
from the brother. That's his brother. I don't know their relationship. I don't know how deep their relationship was. I don't know if there's no
It was
bad blood or whatever. I don't know.
his brother was 10 years older and helped raise Chadwick, and there was no beef between them or turmoil.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, if the brother's saying Chadwick would be totally down with it, I mean, that says a lot. That's the brother saying that. That's the brother. It's not like it's Ryan, which is they're also important, Kevin and Nate, but that's the brother saying continue the man's legacy. Like, don't erase it. Because I'm really thinking about it. I'm looking at what is our positive black male role models in Hollywood right now. You have Sam Wilson, Cap Falcon. We had T'Challa. I guess Black Lightning on the CW. I'm trying. I'm really trying.
Riri Williams is
I'm
coming.
not being funny. I'm really trying to think of some positive black
Superheroes,
male like role models, heroes and stuff in Hollywood right now. Hollywood movies and TV shows. I can think of Franklin. He's a drug dealer. Oh, gosh.
I could think of like the Fast and Furious franchise. I like what Roman brings, but Roman's sort of a criminal. Number 11, my ass.
Hey, I
Remember
can't think
that?
of any positive black male role models right now, bro. We barely have any.
Not many. Not in
And
franchises.
losing T'Challa is like takes a man. That's a big one. He's probably the most positive. A black king helping out all these people and stuff, sharing vibranium and all these materials and stuff. He even went back to Killmonger's neighborhood and was like, yo, let's help out these kids here. And he's gonna let them kids pimp out his ride.
It was a Bugatti. It was a space Bugatti. Let me read a couple of these and I'll get to you, Elliot. I wondered the same about William Hurt, but different character impact. Yeah. Chadwick Boseman passed
different.
away.
I'm not saying it's the same impact, but like I wonder if Marvel's gonna keep the same energy. Are they gonna recast this character?
Then you say that if he had a brother, then continuing his work would be possible. Why? Because the actor must look like the actor we lost. No, man. I would swallow that if the actor looked different. Maybe he was a little bit shorter, or it wasn't exactly.
Yeah, I can be okay with looking different, but not too drastically different. You can find a black actor on this planet that's almost looks like him, almost, not exactly, but almost. Or you may find someone that's close to looking just like him. You're just doppelgangers.
Skip and Tosh adds, too bad Boseman didn't own the character, so his estate doesn't. A soulless corporation owns this fictional character. But they think they're acting soulfully. They think that they're doing the right thing. They are leading with emotion. They actually feel like that's what's crazy. Like, yeah, it's a soulless corporation, but it's three guys. Kevin Feige, producer Nate Moore, Ryan Coogler, who came with this decision. And I don't think these guys are evil. Like at no point
Oh,
during this
I
video I'm
forgot
going to
one.
say that.
Steele from Superman and Lois. I forgot him. Type. Steele from Superman and Lois. I forgot.
Steel.
Yeah,
Oh,
from
okay, he's
Superman
a
and
good
Lois.
character.
Yeah, he's tight.
Nice.
He's solid.
Does he have a show called Steel though, or is he a side character as part of someone else's show?
He was a main part of season 1. He even got to shine over Superman in season 1 of Superman and Lois.
Okay, then I'm eating my words. And then Skip says, so we won't have to accept the worst, but expect it. $1 billion corporation's gonna $1 billion corporation.
$1 billion gonna $1 billion.
Yeah. Are we talking only superhero? Yeah, we got Miles Morales. Miles Morales is a positive. He's also Spider-Man. You know?
Yeah, he's a bootleg Peter Parker.
Marcus from Back of the Bus podcast asks, see how hard it is to come up with positive black male representation?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I look at, and it's not to say that these films are bad or whatever, because these are actually good films. But look at our best films from the black community. It's films like, not saying Baby Boy is a negative film, but like, got some of the stereotypes in it and stuff. Good movie, great movie. Do the Right Thing. Well, Do the Right Thing was a little more positive than most, in a sense. Yeah, a lot of our best movies aren't like the most positive for like, but it's just what's that?
Well, Lando's all right, but Lando wasn't too like prominent. But yeah, you got it. Yeah, Lando Calrissian.
Paid in Full. I hope I'm saying the name right. Paid in Full.
Okay. Finn from Star Wars. Like, come on now, Skip. Come on now.
No, don't say it's Finn from Star Wars.
Not because the look, but because it's blood. Making a comparison to the Vince comments. Okay, Mr. Terrific was in Flash and in the Arrowverse. Like Paul Walker's brother. I know what you mean. That's exactly the example I was thinking about. Skip.
And see, this is why Paul Walker's case is so similar. But the thing with it was already filming Fast 7 when that car crash happened. So he was at least in the process of it. So it's like, we have to finish the film at this point. We got to finish this. It's just with the case of Marvel Studios, they rushed filming and they rushed making a decision on recasting. They should never decided on nothing. They didn't have to tell us nothing super early the way they did. Like
emotional, yeah.
Nothing. They didn't need to say nothing yet. Well, honor him. Like, say, rest of Chadwick, all that stuff, and still talk about him. But don't confirm you were recasting. We're not. We're filming, or we're not. Literally, just wait, because you have so many other properties coming out in Phase 5, Phase 6, 2 Avengers movies, all these street level movies. If they had.
He freeze? No, he froze.
Yeah.
I'll say one last thing. I was gonna say that the decision was made early. So August 24, Chadwick dies. December, when they do the Disney Plus kind of thing, they go, we decided not to recast. It was a quick 5 months between the decision. All right, welcome to the show, Elliot from Hakuna Matata. Everyone sub up to Hakuna Matata. What did I say that made you want to join, or
Well, I mean, I've got the afternoon off. I was in the comment section, so I thought I might as well join live. It's easier to actually talk rather than type with only 200 characters. So yeah, that makes it easier. Do you know the whole thing? I've been kind of in the middle on it all. I think certainly I agree with you, Chill, that when Kevin made the announcement to not recast, I was like, yeah, this seems a bit too soon to be saying anything. Like, it's still very real what's kind of happened. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I watching that trailer yesterday or over the weekend, I was like, this looks pretty decent. Am I annoyed they're kind of getting fully rid of T'Challa? Yeah, I think I am. I think I would have liked to have seen him come back in some form. I mean, this is the multiverse saga, right? So even if they didn't want to in their 616 change him, then they could have at least. I think they could have pulled a T'Challa from another universe where maybe, we've got a T'Challa that's lost everything, and then reunited with, looking at what Queen Ramonda's saying in the trailer, who's lost everything, and bringing them together. You know, the possibilities are there. I think as soon as you've opened the multiverse, you've got every possibility on the face of the planet. So yeah, I'm not like overly annoyed. I kind of land a bit more in the middle on it all, I think. I agree with y'all though. I would like to see T'Challa. I would have liked to have seen T'Challa continue, but I'm also, we're here now, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna see what they do in November, and then see how my opinion goes from there.
What are the two?
Real quick, I wanted to mention something because I broke it down. I was at work last night. I was on my TikTok posting stuff, and I broke down T'Challa's like legacy in the MCU, and I noticed this character is probably the one character just played with death in general. You go to Black Panther Civil War, his father dies. Black Panther 1, he almost dies and he has to kill his nephew in order to save his, protect his kingdom and keep it from falling apart. Infinity War, he dies from the Thanos snap. Endgame, he doesn't die, he comes back, but all he does is really just runs around with a glove and that's it. Then you get to this movie, he's dead. Supposedly someone else is going to die that's close to him in this movie.
I heard.
So this having this character go out like this, plagued around death. Oh, and let me go to the what if stuff. He was a zombie. Well, he wasn't zombie, but he was Scarlet Witch's lunch. What if episode 6? For some reason, he took off his helmet in battle right in front of Killmonger and let him blow his head off for some odd reason.
That happened. Whoa.
Yeah. He's plagued around too much death to end him like this, and then you kill him on top. That's so. I understand, like even characters like Wanda is plagued around death and stuff, but this with T'Challa, like he lost all this stuff, and then he has to lose his life too.
I was gonna ask Elliot. Now you wanted the T'Challa recast to happen. You wanted the character to return, and then you offered this compromise of it's a multiverse. How about you get T'Challa from somewhere else? And that door hasn't closed yet. We're gonna be having a movie called Secret Wars, and that's always there. I recognize that as a compromise. It's not my intention. It's not like what I want. I just want the recast. Tell me the character isn't actually dead, and have Yolande Noel play him. Have some South African actor who already knows the language. Go scout, go find him, and then have this guy plug him into the movie franchise. Just have a guy in a suit during the whole movie. He doesn't necessarily have to have a lot of lines. He won't ever have to take off his helmet, but it'll be T'Challa. Like, let's do stuff. Let's be creative. But that's what I want. But I'll settle for T'Challa's multiversal variant, because what it means to me, and probably means to you the same thing, is that T'Challa, the man named T'Challa, Black Panther, will be getting the same years in the spotlight that some of our favorite white superheroes do. Spider-Man, we know him because that song was catchy as hell, and it explained all the rules. Does whatever Spider-Man can. He spins the web any size. He catches thieves like flies. We know everything about him. We know about Superman because we've repeatedly had that story told to us. How many times have we seen Batman's parents die in the alley? We know who this guy is. I need T'Challa now and his stories and his legacy to be repeated for generation after generation, to where he is a perennial Halloween costume. I want T'Challa Black Panther to be like, when we were listing off superheroes, we don't just name like 10 white guys and then we get to T'Challa. I want to be like, I want T'Challa to be known for T'Challa. There's a lot of folks who just know Black Panther. They don't really know his first name's T'Challa. I mean, they said it a couple times in the movie. They didn't try to teach you his name. He wasn't wearing no name tag, so it's not going to happen naturally. But I want that. And a multiversal variant will get me what I want. So that's why I see value in it, even though I much would rather prefer the original guy from the original universe.
I'll even take a T'Challa variant too, even though, like you said, I want to see the one we grew up with. The one we're growing up with. We're all growing up with this character. His character is part of our lives. Their MCU was building him out to be something. We're growing with the character. I would have preferred this one, but if we get a variant T'Challa, like, we need to get T'Challa, period. T'Challa.
I mean, I really don't disagree with all. I think also though that like his legacy, and by his I'm talking kind of both here within the MCU, both Chadwick and T'Challa within the MCU. I think a legacy can still be had. It can still be forged with what Marvel are currently doing. You know, a legacy does extend past Chadwick's character and the character of T'Challa, and I think that will certainly. I really hope that Wakanda Forever does bring that feeling that we haven't fully forgotten who T'Challa is, and we haven't fully forgotten who Chadwick is. And I know us, the fans, won't. It's about whether the MCU does that as well. And so, I personally, for me, considering we knew that the multiverse was coming at the time of Boseman's death, I think the best outcome for me would be a variant. But yeah, so again, but you know, in the way that you see value in a variant, I do see value in a recast, as you guys mentioned a couple of minutes ago, like the fact that when Terrence Howard kicked off about pay, they recast him. The fact that when the studio making, you know, dealing with the character Hulk changed, they recast it. You know, when Edward Norton didn't want to come and play, and you know, it's and it's a shame, and it would be nice. I agree, Chill, to see T'Challa as much of a household name as these other superheroes, and it does certainly feel that the chance to do it is still there. It's just how you're going to take that chance.
Marvel's not stopping. Marvel was using words like Phase 6. They've got 7 and 8 in the bag too. Like these guys are going to continue for another decade.
7, 8, and 9 ready.
I'd love to have T'Challa in there.
Kevin Feige already knows what the next saga is. You know that, like after Multiverse, he definitely already knows what the next saga is again. Like you're right, like 7, 8, and 9, they're probably already planning that out.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Storm wedding. I'm looking at the Doom War. Like, are we gonna get that? We might get like a bastardized version of, or an adapted version of it, where it's not T'Challa. But there's certain things that only. Yeah, Lavis is in the building. Hello there.
What up, man?
What up? What up? Let me finish a couple of these comments because I don't want to neglect that you guys join me and write stuff. If Black Panther was Illuminati in the Multiverse of Madness, Wanda would have killed T'Challa too. And you're laughing, and I'm glad that they didn't do it. Maybe they pulled that from the movie because, of course, insensitivity of having him die. I can see why.
They was probably thinking about it. Probably like, yo, let's get.
But they didn't do it, so we got to give them kudos. They
didn't put Iron Man in it, so you know Iron Man. They didn't put a variant of Iron Man, so
they didn't. No. In my culture, death is not the end. It's more of a stepping off point. You reach out with both hands, and Bast and Sekhmet, they lead you into a green field where you can run forever. He says that to Natasha, doesn't he?
Nah, when he's in the car. Wait, I think he says that when he's in the car.
No, that's when he says the Black Panther is a mantle passed off. Something like that.
From generation to generation.
There he is. They could have just had T'Challa be away for a while like comics and then recast because, you know what? They could have made him get onto a plane and said, we're going to find where this vibranium meteorite came from because that's what my mom wanted to find out. His real mom, not Ramonda, the stepmom. And then he could have just been away for the whole movie. Meanwhile, what's happening in Wakanda? You really could have done. There's so many other things you could have done, man. Richardo adds, I've accepted the reality of the situation, but these future possibilities just look like T'Challa's story is being stripped away from him and giving them to other characters.
You just set it up perfectly. Hold up. He goes into space to find a meteor. The war with Wakanda and Namor happens. Namor takes over Atlantis. The movie ends. T'Challa shows up back in Wakanda. He sees Namor sitting on his throne. Dang, we just made a dope.
Come on now.
Come on, we just made a
1 billion right there.
See,
spoiler kings. What if Nakia's baby is T'Challa Jr. and he becomes the new one? Well, T'Challa Jr. would be 1 year old, and it would take how many years until he's like a fighter? Like 20 years until he can get into like
do a time jump to make that work.
They do a time jump, yeah. Ray is here with the elbow cough, which is a dab. Everybody dab. It's a dab. Yes. Good morning. All right.
See,
go ahead, Lavas. Welcome to the stream. From the YouTube channel, The Main Authority. I got his name in the description already, so sub. Man, what do you want to add to this conversation? We were strictly talking Black Panther.
Right. I guess, I just came in, so I'm going to start from the beginning. Seeing the trailer, for me, I feel like this is part of a I agree with you guys on a lot of things. You know, it's a part of a knee-jerk reaction. It was really soon when they decided to say that they weren't going to recast, and I do feel there was ways that they possibly could have came up with explanations on the character Black Panther being absent from the next movie, just for the story. I do agree with a lot of that stuff. I was actually one of the people, and you can go back on the Den of Nerds and watch Al and I talk about it, who said that recasting would be something that they should do, or should be something that they should do. And I felt like now, this time period that we're in now, uh, that this was going to happen, that people were going to be over the death enough to look back at the movie and be like, okay, I can accept a recast.
Yep.
But we felt like there would be certain stipulations to that. Like if people were to accept a recast, they wouldn't just accept any recast. They wouldn't just accept Scout taken over. They would accept somebody like a lot of people were calling for Michael B. Jordan. Those who were those who were into a recast were like, hey, you know, we got the multiverse variant. We can get a Killmonger variant and just say it is T'Challa from a different universe. There's a lot of people that were going with that, and I was actually one person who subscribed to that idea. I was like, you know, that's fine if Michael B. wanted to come back and do that. That would be acceptable for a lot of people because he did an awesome job opposite Chadwick as Killmonger. Um, he was definitely a supporting actor in the first Black Panther and one of the enjoyable characters that they did introduce in that movie. But as far as seeing the trailer now and like seeing the types of things that they put in it, I don't feel like it's exploitive. I feel that perhaps uh Feige and them, you know, there were certain things that they wanted in the movie, and perhaps those beats were met.
Mhm.
And outside of that, Coogler and his cast and all of the grief that they felt, they found a way that they wanted to honor T'Challa in this, or Chadwick, excuse me, in this movie. And I feel because they do recognize that there's the culture connected Chadwick with this character, that they had to do certain things like, you know, put his image in it and acknowledge the death of Chadwick by acknowledging the death of T'Challa, because a lot of people put that together.
There you go. A lot, and it's not just a lot of people; it's them themselves. Nate Moore
Mhm.
says this. I'll find the exact clip, the one that I was sending
Oh
you on
no, no,
Twitter.
yeah, you shared it on, yeah, on Twitter, and yeah, I agree
No,
too. Yeah, like
actually,
they did. They put it together on this on the studio on the stage too. Go ahead, Akuna.
I think that's a real interesting point there about, you know, talking about Coogler and the cast as well, because I mean that is probably we don't know all the background discussion's been, and you know that could be another thing as well, that maybe for them they turned around and said we don't want another person to come in. We, you know, if it's for us, if it's not Chad, he's our friend and our brother. If it's not him, we don't want that. So that's a possibility. You know, we don't know. And actually, they might have even said we prefer to just honor him in this way instead.
I'll
I don't know.
find that
Yeah.
because I can rule that out. That
Okay.
the cast had a say in it, and they didn't want
Right.
anyone else to play the character because he actually does say how quickly they made the decision. Let me make sure that I'm sharing my screen. Full screen it. You guys see it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the chances we see the character of T'Challa in the MCU moving forward? And what is it like having to balance?
Okay, that's Nate Moore, the executive producer of the movie, and he's produced like Eternals and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Loyalty to a fan base and to a performer as regal and elegant as Chadwick Boseman,
Yeah.
along with the future of that franchise, that character, and of Wakanda.
Yeah. It's a great question. I will say the chances that you see T'Challa in our, I'm not hedging my bets. I'm being quite honest. T'Challa is, you will not see T'Challa in the MCU 616 universe. We couldn't do it. I mean, I will say when Chad passed, it was a real conversation we had with Coogler about what do we do.
and it was a fast conversation.
Okay, guys, it was a conversation with Kugler, and it was fast. So that doesn't include time to go to, yo, Denai Guerrero, what's your opinion on this? Yo, Lupita Nyong'o. It was a fast conversation.
And it was a fast conversation. It wasn't weeks, it was minutes of, we have to figure out how to move this franchise on without that character, because I think we all feel so much of T'Challa in the MCU on the screen, not in comics, right?
Yeah.
Is tied to Chadwick's performance.
Again, that's further confirmation that they did not separate the guy from the character.
Chadwick's performance is what he brought to that role, both on and off screen, I would argue. So as hard as it is narratively to figure out what to do, because it's a big hole, at no point did we consider recasting him. So the challenge for Black Panther Wakanda Forever is telling a story without T'Challa. And I think it's a challenge we're up for, and obviously we're in the middle of it, and we're figuring it out, and it's so far I think what we're getting is great. But the challenge of the movie, I think, is to entertain people, but there will be a level of, I think, catharsis in people in this universe without that guy, because that guy and that universe to me are one and the same.
Again, he says it
So
again.
as filmmakers and storytellers, you have to figure out how people are going to feel going into your movie and what you want that movie to say about that guy who's not going to be in your movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I think that definitely dispels any official conversation between Coogler and the cast and producers. That doesn't say that there were, text messages, phone calls after the death, just on a personal level, where maybe I get the purpose of the clip, but I think, and it's certainly any professional conversations. You're right. Like it wouldn't have been quick enough. It was too quick. Sorry, for something more drawn out, but you never know what was said maybe in personal chats and stuff as well. So
it is possible Winston Duke had the opinion of, hey, you guys better not have somebody else play that, because I associate T'Challa so much with Chadwick, it just wouldn't sit right with me.
Yeah,
that's conversation could happen.
Yeah.
I feel like
in the same way that's
possible, because people are so vocal nowadays, and at no point did I hear any cast member anywhere come out and say, no, we wanted to recast and Coogler was against it. I didn't hear anybody rebut at all. So it's like I said, we don't know for sure. We can make the speculation.
Yeah,
it's possible.
It's possible it didn't. It's possible it did. Like it goes both ways, really.
I'll help. I heard Anthony Mackie in an interview while he was promoting Falcon Winter Soldier. He was talking to Ebro in the morning, and he said that I don't want that challenge on any, like, I envy the actor who has to follow that performance and be a new T'Challa. That'd be way too much, way too hard. And I disagree with that. Anyone can do it. We had a lot of Jokers when we thought Jack Nicholson couldn't be topped. Heath Ledger wins an Oscar. Joaquin Phoenix wins an Oscar. Jared Leto went. We had
right, and I don't think people should. Let's say if a new black man does come in and take over the role, not saying he will, there shouldn't be that pressure of like, if you're not like Chadwick, we're gonna fucking get you. You better be just like Chadwick. Like we shouldn't be. I wouldn't do that, and I don't think nobody should. Not the studio, none of the cast members. That's wrong. Like that's kind of messed up. It's like if you're not like him, you're not. You need to be like him. That's like if the next person comes in to play Wolverine, or like you. Why can't you be like Hugh Jackman? Huh?
That's gonna happen though. That's going to happen.
It's gonna happen.
Right?
It is. It is. I totally understand that. But it's wrong for us to do that. Well,
definitely, I agree.
It depends.
Emotions would have to be crazy high for the cast as is. That is true. That's valid, and we can never forget that. We have to give these guys credit for being emotionally or credit. We have to give them appreciation. Can only imagine what it would have been like for them to see someone in his place. That's right, but they would have gotten over it. And if you just as much as they kind of spiced up this Wakanda Forever as an honor to Chadwick, you could have just had the same things being said. We're going to honor Chadwick's work. What we're not going to do is say just because Chadwick isn't here anymore, everything he put his blood, his last years of his life to get this character popping, we're not just going to end it. We're going to honor him. So that's why we got Ilan Noel. That's why we got Jason David Washington. to play the role, and they'll be like, "Yeah, you're right. We got to honor him. Hey, welcome to the family, man. Let's continue this. You're filling in some big shoes. We'll be here for you every step of the way." You can convince people in the same talking points you were using now to convince us that this movie is honoring Chadwick Boseman. It would have been
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah.
DL says people need to separate from the actor from the character. DL is a smart man. We should all subscribe to him. So Skipintosh adds,
but it's funny, isn't it? Like, I remember all this kind of conversation coming up when with Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker, and when his first opinions about Luke's story in The Last Jedi, and everyone was like, "But the actors said it," and it's the same kind of conversation, isn't it, about keeping that actor and the character separate, like who really owns that. And I think for a lot of people, Mark Hamill very much owned Luke Skywalker because he was the first person to play Luke Skywalker.
Unlike T'Challa, because T'Challa existed from the 60s. But yes, there's a difference between what Mark Hamill is to Luke.
No. Yeah. Which is why I chose my words carefully in saying that Mark Hamill was the first person to play Luke Skywalker in the same way that Chadwick is the first person to play.
Yeah, you understood what I was saying. I was sharing it with the audience. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's an interesting conversation again. Like, can we as fans truly, kind of keep that separate? Because when we see someone in that image, they are very much ingrained as the person in that image. I think it's probably another reason why in Rogue One they went for the CGI facing as opposed to recasting Tarkin and Leia. So because they looked this way once. It kind of it happens more often than not. But at the same time, I do agree that there should be separation. I mean, I'm an actor myself. I play a character, but it doesn't mean I own that character. There are other people that are going to go and play that character, as happens in the top levels of Hollywood as well. So, there's nuance within it, and it kind of is all kind of caught itself in a vicious circle. Even I can't really find my way out of it. I'm kind of going in a bit of a circle now as well. But I see someone commenting there about James Bond, and it's the exact same thing. Like, Sean Connery was great, but a lot of people love what Daniel Craig did. A lot of people loved the more comical version of Roger Moore. I personally, Timothy Dalton, he did 2 films, but he's my favorite Bond.
Mine's Pierce Brosnan. That's where I started. 007 was Pierce, and he had to me the best run. Period.
Who was 007 for the GoldenEye video game?
That was Pierce Brosnan,
Best one. Pierce Bronson.
Yep. Best one.
Santa says, need to view it somewhat similar to Green Lantern. They're different characters, same role. What does he mean?
Yeah, I get what they're saying. Because there have been multiple lanterns, haven't there? So they're the same. They're all Green Lantern, but they're different people.
Are you talking? So to Santa, do you mean how Shuri is now going to be the Black Panther?
That's what I'm thinking. If
that's what you mean, I'm good with Shuri becoming a Black Panther. I'd like the character of T'Challa, the man that Chadwick was playing in this movie. They're going to say that he died, and that's what's kind of unsettling with me. If they kept T'Challa alive, or if they just said he's busy handling business somewhere else, or he's missing, we don't know. Okay, that just don't kill what Chadwick Boseman worked really hard to create. Which
I feel like that's a big testament to how Marvel at least is trying to pander to fans. It may not be the right way. Let me be clear. But at the same time, you got to look at the position and the things that they are trying to do with their saga. They have this multiverse, and out of all the ways that they could have pivoted for this death, they decided to end effective T'Challa and Boseman. If you want to look at it that way, they're ending it. And I feel like they may feel like they had to go that route because so many people view T'Challa and Chadwick as the same person,
and they're wrong.
And they're emotional. I'm not necessarily wrong because there are a lot of people who do view it that way. I'm not saying that that's the right way to view it. I don't view it that way.
I'm interrupting you to put that in there. They are wrong to view it that way.
Right.
He himself never wanted you to view it that way.
Right.
There's
and
interviews.
And I agree with you. And the reason why I agree with you is because people are very quick now to be like recast, who said that they didn't want the recast. Yet who was rocking for Chadwick Boseman before he played T'Challa this hard. I did not hear nobody say anything about
James
Chadwick
Brown,
around James Brown. I didn't hear no
Jackie
huge
Robinson.
nothing. I didn't hear nothing huge around Jackie Robinson. I didn't hear anything huge when he came out with that. I forget the name of this movie, was the one where he was like a police officer. And
21 Bridges.
yeah, 21 Bridges. I didn't hear nothing huge about anything with Chadwick until T'Challa. Now that he's dead, T'Challa has to be reviewed or looked at in a particular way. But none of these other characters that he played, none of the other things that he laid down in his other movies are being called to come into question to actually honor Chadwick. I don't mean come into question in the wrong way. I'm just saying, like, to honor Chadwick himself, I don't see too many people rocking for that. Everything is always is just T'Challa on that. So it's like, what are we really mad about here? Are we mad because they're ending Chadwick, or are we mad because they're ending T'Challa? Like, where's that argument? Where's that line being drawn at?
If it's just
I'm
me,
mainly mad that they're ending T'Challa. Chadwick, he
for
still
me,
lives on forever in our memories.
Right.
Like he still lives on through memory. What he left behind is his. I'm not sure if he has a child. You know,
I don't think so.
No.
I'm not sure if he's a child or not, but his family.
Right.
All these people live on. We all live on through him, through our memories, all that. But the main thing is T'Challa that they're hurting. Yeah. Chadwick is going to be fine. He's going to be remembered for what he did. I mean, for what he did with what he was dealing with.
Yeah.
That man is amazing, right? He didn't complain to nobody. He was going to children's hospitals, visiting kids and shit. He didn't tell nobody. He didn't go like, guys, blah, blah, blah. He was like, I got fucking work to do. I don't know how much time I got left, but he made sure I need to do this shit because it's for the culture.
You talking about Black Panther or every role?
Just in general, every role. Okay. Every role.
Just Chadwick in himself, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, right. He did it for the culture. Like because the biggest reason he is where he's at is because Denzel Washington. Because he gave him he helped get him a scholarship, got him into school. So we went to the same college as Denzel. And he's in a sense paying it forward for the community. That's what he's been doing, paying it forward, like doing his part. You know, Denzel paid it forward for him, and he's trying to continue that. And that's
every nice thing you just said right now, Kata, obviously paying it forward, and he's putting in the work and the hours for meaningful roles to get Black Panther on the same pedestal as Superman. All of that is being undone as soon as you say, well, the character's got to go because Chadwick's gone. And like the more we talk about it.
2016, 2017, 2018. 5 years.
For 5 years.
Did that in 5 years. That man's
did a lot. He made it a household name. The guy was in the dunk contest.
He didn't complain about, he didn't tell none of us about his illness, nothing. He didn't complain about it. You know, there's so many people that complain about shit like, oh, my fucking shoes, they're dirty. But Chadwick was dealing with that. And he got all this done within that short time. Come on, man. If that's not a hero, I don't know what a hero is. That's a
corporations are going to consider they're going to consider the audience that are making the movie for. If audience see it that way, it's going to be bad for the corporations to overlook the perspective of their audience. And now that's good. That's a good segue, because we kind of spoke on this a couple times here during the talk. It's that at the moment of Chadwick's death, August of 2020, I remember seeing people go, there's no way they can recast. And I'm, as someone who wanted to recast even then, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do speak on this, because it would mean that, oh, man, just fresh, he's not even buried yet, and I'm over here thinking about the role, so I'm keeping my mouth shut. I feel like more people than just me, like, we're just really respectful and didn't want to say we got to be recasting. That campaign of hashtag recast T'Challa that E-Man started, he only started it after what's his name, Kevin Feige said he wasn't going to recast when he said that in the December thing. I think E-Man started it in April of 2021. Why? Because E-Man is a respectful guy who can separate, like, you know, when there's a major tragedy and there's time to talk about it, that kind of, he can do that. And E-Man's a respectful man, and I'm not, you know, patting myself on the back either too hard, but I'm also a respectful guy.
He don't be spamming
Yeah, he doesn't do that.
every
No.
day and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, he's always
he's not weird about it. He's very respectful about it from what I've seen.
always. And there's a lot of things that I learned from watching E-Man during this like recasting T'Challa, I guess, period, like which they're totally ignoring. But I feel like it would be disrespectful in August. But the whole world, if you ask them, no, they better not recast. Well, he's my Black Panther. There will never be another. And people saying stuff like that because someone just died. And I guess one guy said something, and somebody wanted to one up him, and they said, well, he's the best. He's T'Challa forever. And people kept trying to like, I guess to what's the word, bravado? It's like they're trying to show their love by saying the most like exclusive T'Challa is Chadwick Boseman talking points, and I think that's basically when Nate Moore, Ryan Coogler, and Kevin Feige made the decision not to recast. It was a quick decision. It lasted minutes, not months. I think that's about the time that the period where it was made. Why can't we step back though? Why can't we look back and understand that we made an emotional decision and say it's time to recast? Maybe in his answer that we just listened to Nate Moore say, maybe because he specified that it's only for this universe, maybe there is room. Maybe there are even plans for another T'Challa from another universe to appear in a movie, right? And again, that was my compromise that I was saying with you, Hakuna Matata. Like that's, I'll take it. I'll take it however it comes.
Yeah, he definitely does. Like he definitely pauses to specify that, doesn't he? That it's so, you know, and as we, you're right. As we said, like our might not be, you know, for me, I think for me, like, I think I've said that like the best outcome for me would have been just a different universal T'Challa anyway, because then you can keep the legacy of the character and still honor Chadwick at the same time. I think you hit the best compromise there.
I agree.
Oh, and Chillmonger, check out the link I sent you.
Yeah, I had it open. Yeah. This one here, yeah.
Yet again, another game surrounded around death and Black Panther.
A single-player open-world RPG game is in early development and will be published by EA. The game will begin with the death of one Black Panther as players look to take on the mantle. It is unclear if T'Challa will be the playable Black Panther. Well, clearly not. If there's going to be a death, well, it could be T'Chaka. Hold on a minute now. It could be T'Chaka's death. Yeah, either or. I would like for it to be T'Chaka.
It's just that hearing about this today, and then the trailer comes out a couple days ago. Chadwick's, man. I'm not saying you can't have death and Black Panther content, but like, man, it's too.
Fingers crossed that it's actually T'Chaka.
It's getting a little eerie at this point. It's like listening to a posthumous album of a rapper, and they speak about death, and they almost detail what outer death happens. Like it's very spooky and ominous, and you know, very spooky and shit. It's like, ugh.
Lavis, when I was talking to you on Twitter, it was you, right?
Yeah, okay. Always. Al usually will pop in on his own.
I think that I was more of the like, I'm not going to pay money to see this movie. You were not. You will pay money to see this movie, right?
Most likely, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a diehard Black Panther fan like most people are. Like everybody's all into it because of the culture and all that types of stuff. And I'm very realistic. And to be honest, yeah, I do understand what the movie means for people. But I didn't actually like the way they portrayed T'Challa in Black Panther. He had a lot of weak moments and a lot more weak moments than you would compare to a person like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. You know, they had their, like, I feel with the introduction that they gave him in Civil War, like he had that moment to be weak. He was already Black Panther, or at least took up the mantle immediately. It seemed like right after his father died. And that was kind of not the origin, but it was his passing of the torch moment happened in Civil War. So when you get to Black Panther and they like depower him to go up against a person like M'Baku, after he already went up against these superheroes, these hardened people, you know, like a person like Cap and Winter Soldier, who's been alive for years, you understand what I'm saying? Like killing and fighting people. And then, you know, you depower him, and then you almost damn near kill him when he's fighting M'Baku. You kill him, when he's fighting Killmonger. Like, at what point did he even deserve to be Black Panther in the first place just because his father died? Like, I felt like that types of stuff is something that should have happened or should have been
Well,
alluded to happening in Civil War. So the way that they handled Black Panther for me since the beginning is just a little pre-callous. And I
Well,
get that there may have been certain things to keep that movie from coming out. I feel like it was out of place. I feel like Black Panther should have been a movie that came out before Civil War. And then you have where, we got to see the passing of the torch. We got to see these weak moments, these weak points, to see him become strong, to see him lose his father in Civil War, and then continue on from there.
You know, you got
So,
Ike Perlmutter to thank for that, right?
oh, I'm sure. Yeah, there was a lot of different reasons why this
Well,
movie
I
was kind of
think
out of place, like Black Widow.
I think real quick to jump on the Black. Well, you mentioned one about the Black Panther and when he being. I think he was already subbing in as Black Panther for a while under his dad.
Right.
Because his dad was just king, and we know his dad was kind of chunky. He can't fit in that suit,
Right.
He
Exactly.
can't
Right.
fit.
No, I agree.
He can't fit in that suit. But I think, and I agree with you. I'm not saying they should have put out a film, but I think the first Black Panther film should have been about how he did get the suit, what trials he had to go through, what did he do to where his dad is like, all right, son, I'm gonna step away and be king, and I just want you to be Black Panther because,
Right.
and the way the movie set it up, you get both Black Panther and King. But T'Chaka seems like he broke a rule to allow his son to be Black Panther and he can be king. So I want to see why he did that. What happened.
Well, don't quote me, but I believe in the comics, like, the Black Panther does not necessarily have to be the king. It's sort of like a family thing. So, like, the legacy of it is like it comes down from the lineage of T'Challa's family mostly. But
Nah, in Reginald Hudlin's run of Black Panther, he was fighting different people, and he didn't have to be family.
right, okay, you see what I'm saying? So, like, even on that, so it doesn't necessarily have to be the king, but still, I'm still with you, Dot. It's like they should have totally found a way to flesh that out before you leave all these open questions of, well, how the hell did he even get the suit in the first place? And like I said, or maybe make the movie where it was a post movie, you know what I'm saying? Like, to show that he was able to get the suit and go through these types of hardships before his father passed away. Like, I would have been fine if T'Chaka was in Black Panther, and then that led to his death for Chadwick to be Black Panther in that movie, blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm not a huge Black Panther fan because I felt like they could have handled that better. They could have showed the strength in T'Challa and in his family a lot better than having to have him have 2 or 3 near death experiences for him to actually unfortunately pass away. It just kind of that's why I feel like we're in this space now. We're in a very weird space
It
because
doesn't
of the
help.
way that they
Yeah,
handle.
I mean, maybe, but I think at least my take of the first Black Panther film was that I think that it's pretty set that he is already the Black Panther, and I think what is more in question in the film is his right to lead as king, because and in some terms, because of with the Black Panther, you have to prove yourself physically, but I think he also had to prove himself as that king. So the physical bouts come with M'Baku and Killmonger. M'Baku, who is physically stronger, Killmonger, who is a better fighter. But then the proper crucial scene is when T'Challa is on the spiritual plane, and his confrontation with T'Chaka and the past kings and queens, to say that the way you guys have led in hiding us away from
wrong. All of you are wrong.
Thank you, but I think for me that's what Black Panther was about, and I think once he overcame that, and the fact that the Wakandans, at least the Dora Milaje and his family, saw him completely, and eventually M'Baku and his tribe recognized T'Challa as the king, not just as the Black Panther, but as the king. And I think and at the same time, there has. I know you'll agree with this. It's the conflict that was put up you didn't like, but there's got to be some form of conflict that the character has to overcome. And I know that's not what you're arguing, but and I think I just think that the way they split it, for me, they made it more about him being king as opposed to being Black Panther, which, yeah, I think that the physical was kind of already there. Yes, he does lose to Killmonger, but that was only the first fight. The second fight, he wins. But yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think it still stands for me anyway. It stands pretty nicely.
It gives
And,
T'Challa a level of vulnerability and relatability in the movies, showing that he's not a cold-blooded hard king that's invincible. You can make a case for why it's yes, sure, but I do understand what Lavis is saying, and even I agree
Yeah.
with him a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
And personally, for me, right, Killmonger knows. Killmonger knows. There's not a lot of MCU characters I really like that much to be invested. A lot of the MCU stuff, like Steve Rogers, Captain America.
Oh my god.
Chill, I'm not hating. I'm being honest. Steve Rogers, Captain America is probably one of my favorite MCU characters, and then it was T'Challa. Right? There's probably more, but really, I don't really like that many after seeing where they went up to this point now. And then T'Challa was that potentially next character I was going like, yo, I'm ready to get invested into this character. Like Steve Rogers gone. All right, then I got T'Challa that I can get ready to hop onto because I liked him in Civil War and I liked his first movie. And boom, it's like shit. I
really wish
they got Hawkeye.
I wish-
Hawkeye, he's for me.
Hawkeye. We wouldn't be here if they would have just reached out to the family and they would have just told them, listen, what Chadwick would want is this. Like, why couldn't they do that? And I don't mean to blame Chadwick.
I don't think they didn't care. Whatever
they probably didn't care. Yeah,
they didn't care.
And the family probably didn't care either. You think the family, like, their first concern is this movie? No,
well, it seems like the brother cared though. It seems like the brother cared. Well, the
brother was asked. No, when the brother is asked, he'll talk, but he's not out here like campaigning for it either. I think we only have like 2 quotes that we can point at. It was the TMZ article, and it was that interview we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, but he did care, to be honest. At least, like, that was kind of surprising when he said that.
But I mean, I come back to earlier, like, yeah, one side of it is what would Chadwick's family want, but then the other side of it, and the bit that we, it's more difficult because there's not as much evidence out there as is with Chadwick's brother. But right. What do his friends and his cast members think? So there's 2 sides. It's difficult.
Yeah, we only really know what the brother thinks, what Feige thinks, Nate Moore and Coogler. That's it.
But do you like T'Challa or do you like the Black Panther?
T'Challa and Black Panther, but mainly the definitive Black Panther, which is T'Challa.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's not really
the
about
only one I care about. There's all these other Black Panthers. It's like with Batman, right? Terry McGinnis was Batman, Azrael was Batman, Dick Grayson at one point was Batman. I don't care about them. I care about Bruce Wayne Batman.
Captain Marvel 2 might be our last
version of some of these characters.
That's right. It says here that we've got 28 people joining us. Thank you for all joining us. I am Chillmonger. Subscribe to me. SSJK.Sanctum. He's got a channel too. Lavis B, his channel is called The Main Authority on YouTube. And Hakuna Machatter can also be found if you want to see what Elliot's got cooking on his YouTube channel. We're not going to go too long because I'm going to be joined by another guest named Normies to Nerds. And we're going to be having a little debate about race swapping. I did that with you once, didn't I, Elliot? The race swapping thing after Captain America Falcon.
Yeah. I think we spoke more about the elevation of Black heroes. Are they stepping into white mantles, or is it just a mantle? It was more kind of that. Yeah.
He says he'll be here at 1, but we'll give him time and stuff. So if I, just abruptly change topics, that's going to be why. Just because I needed to talk to Kendall about this during the 33 burning questions stream. On Saturday we were talking and he was in the live chat and he was animated. He was even saying stuff like, man, I'm fuming over here, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do this solo talk with him. So that's what spawned this stream. But we're talking Black Panther too. K-Dot, how much more time do you have with us?
I can give it another 30 minutes or so. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I have to go, but I do want to say, ultimately, overall, as far as the recast and everything goes, you can go back a year or 2 years ago, however long ago it was. I agree with y'all. I feel like they should have recasted. I feel like the multiverse was the way to do it and the best way to compromise. So I agree with you, Elliot, on that. But unfortunately, they made the decision. It was very knee jerk, and I feel this. You look back at that time period, the fandom was very split. Like even down to Al and I. Al was like, "No, don't recast. People are going to have a adverse reaction." I was like, "Bump that." I get Chadwick is gone, but the show must continue. They are not the same person. We need to have a T'Challa or at least a suitable Black Panther outside of Shuri. No offense to Shuri, but the arc ended too soon, and we need that to continue in Marvel. So I totally agree with you guys. But in the same point, I see someone even mentioned it in the comment in the chat earlier that we're not those actors. We're not those people who probably seen him every day, who got to know that man, and it might have been too soon for them. And maybe Coogler was able to speak for his cast and crew when he said, "No, we're not going to recast," because we don't know if Chadwick actually shared personally with any of them that he knew he wasn't going to be alive. When he did this one interview while he was on the red carpet, and he said, when they asked him how was Black Panther 2 going to go, he said, "I'm dead."
I know.
He said that. So, like, he knew he lightweight shared it with us in ways, and he may have been more personal with the cast to where his passing was like, "No, we're not going to do it." Basically, because maybe they couldn't deal with it. Maybe it wasn't his wishes to do that, but they just couldn't be able to look at another person in the face and be like, and call him T'Challa, and it mean the same thing to them. So there's a lot of different things we would have to consider. I'm not going to not see the movie. I feel like they still put a lot of their heart and tears into it, especially watching their reaction on the San Diego Comic-Con. It looked like it was very difficult for them to even come out and acknowledge that they were making,
I was pulling
releasing this.
that up. Yeah, I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
find that one before. But
So
you're gonna go, but I'll pull it up.
yeah, I'll still be able to watch as I can. But yeah, we're in a very weird space. I'm hoping maybe by the time we get to Secret Wars, they figure out a way to bring back the character and make it iconic in a way that we'll be able to maybe forgive, or they do their MCU-ness and tie it all in together, and it makes sense. We don't know what post-credit scenes they have. We don't know what the end of the movie is like. They could very well have included some kind of allusion to them recasting. We don't know. So I'm gonna give it a fair shake and at least go see what they put their heart and tears into in the end of it. So peace, subscribe, main authority. Y'all have a good night. I'm out.
Yeah,
Something funny happened.
nicely
We were talking about E-Man. He liked one of my tweets that I posted because I said to this. I just said name the loudest. Somebody over here said, my biggest problem with Recast T'Challa is that the loudest people in the conversations are misogynistic. If you want to recast because you see women leading as an attack on black manhood, you're lost in the sauce. So I just asked, please name the loudest, knowing that the loudest voice in Recast T'Challa is the guy who made the big petition with 60,000, and then E-Man himself liked the tweet. That was kind of funny that it happened because we were just talking about him. Yeah. That's about it. All right, let me get another shared screen. You were saying, Elliot?
No, I just liked what Lavas said there. What we signed off with was
you better subscribe to the main authority unless you're not
better,
already.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I need to definitely. Yeah, that tweet is kind of weird because I think you can certainly hear from the conversation we've all had. None of us have once said we don't want to see anyone else as Black Panther. We just want to see T'Challa back. It's a weird one. Yeah. None of us are uncomfortable. One of the shining points of the first Black Panther film was the strong female representation. Like, it was
and
great.
It's the shining point of this trailer because that was apparent.
Yeah. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't people saying those kind of things that tweet is alluding to, but yeah,
it's not the loudest voices.
No. It's very specific.
I click on that hashtag all the time, and it's never like that angry. Yeah. Not always. Not maybe got a little angry this week.
No, but I know what you're saying. The majority of words aren't about that.
Yeah. Will the discussion be about race swaps and mantle swaps? the opinion tends to differ depending on which one it is. I'll take it wherever Kendall wants to take it when he comes. But yeah, it'll be about both of those things. I think Marvel should recast when they reboot Black Panther, but to push for a recast after his death is disrespectful. Why is it disrespectful once Chadwick Boseman dies? Because T'Challa isn't the same guy. Let me read that again, Parco. Marvel should recast when they reboot the Black Panther, but to push for a recast after his death is disrespectful. After his death because it happened so soon? What do you mean? After his death... But okay, first of all, you said something that's key. After a reboot, we're recasting. Tony Stark is getting recast. Everyone gets recasted in like year 2037. Like everyone's going to be new. It's going to be a different Captain America. We'll start with the X-Men and having another Logan. And yes, that's understood, right? So like a recast is happening. Why are we honoring Chadwick by not recasting in this iteration? I feel like your logic is flawed, and I'll give you time to respond to it, Parco. Jaded Fanboy says, don't worry, K. No matter what they do, they're still ruined the movie anyway. Yeah, right. Right? Thanks, Jaded Fanboy.
Living up to the name of Jaded Fanboy.
I mean, me personally, you already know I'm not watching this movie in theaters anyways. And it won't hurt me too. I skipped out on Thor 4. I skipped out on Morbius. I think the only movie I watched this year this Marvel in theaters was Doctor Strange 2. I'm missing another movie. Did another Marvel movie come out? Or was Doctor Strange 2 the first one this year?
That's a good question. I can't think off the top of my head.
I think it was the first one this year. Yeah. But I've definitely seen Doctor Strange 2 in theaters.
You're right. It was the first one this year in May. It was supposed to be in March, but they pushed it. Guys, when they play the trailer, you're going to see all of the cast members kind of embrace each other in a group hug.
You guys are going to be the first audience to see the trailer for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
You see them on the left? And you got Feige kind of smiling it off on the side, but you saw how Letitia Wright looked, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
I'll rewind it maybe 10 seconds. And
it's a bit jumpy in my end. I don't know if it's jumpy everyone else's end.
What were we looking at?
I was just showing you how the original cast were all embracing themselves here, and it's in really super slow motion. So even if it's jumpy, I hope it'll look good. And like the trailer just played, it's the first time the cast themselves have seen this, and they're going through it. Like it was pretty rough on them. They're not exactly cheerful. See these faces? Like, come on now. I'm sure seeing Chadwick Boseman's face in Wakanda didn't help. I don't know what point I'm trying to say, but they are emotional. I'll leave it there. I can't really read their faces, but look at Kevin Feige's a little bit of let's lighten up the mood, guys. Hey, let's high five all. Like it's just different.
Look at Kevin. Hey, money. Give me a hug. Money.
Yeah. He's like, this is not a bad look. He can see that. Like he's gonna make things happier in the Hall H.
Nah, I'm just joking. Kevin dripped out. He got some nice shoes. What type of sneakers he got on? Jordans. He dripped.
How much time do I got you here for, Kendall?
About 45.
Okay.
Give him a little lunch break in.
Thank you for joining. We got to talk because we're gonna continue what we were doing over on Saturday. To Elliot and to K-Dot, I want to thank you guys for jumping on. I am unceremoniously booting you out because I want this one-on-one with Kendall.
All good.
But you
got
good.
Thank you.
Check out Hakuna Matata. Go subscribe. Go follow him. I'll add his name in the description link. Hakuna Matata. Thanks for coming as always. Every time you show up, it's an enlightening conversation. I love you.
That's all right, man. Thank you. Yeah, I like to come in and play little devil's advocate sometimes. But I mean, I was more centrist today, so we were all right. But it was good fun. Thank you very much, man.
Peace out. K-Dot, love you too. First Black Super Saiyan to arrive on this planet, and I'll be on your channel any moment now. It's not like I'm never not there.
Anytime, you're always welcome. Kendall, chill, be safe. I'm about to get some sleep.
All right.
Hmm. There's one thing that I said to you yesterday when we were chatting about race swaps and my problem with it. Conversation like Commissioner Gordon came up. Even when I was talking about black representation in Marvel, I fudged up and I said that you just named a whole bunch of animated things. I fucked up. I should have said you named a bunch of television things. But because I was thinking about animation and our talk about Star Wars like a few minutes earlier, how Star Wars treats their animation with the same reverence as live action, the same reverence as movies. I had animation on my mind, and that's so. And I saw you writing down in the live chat that no, I didn't mention animated. I mentioned Armor Wars and Ironheart
Right.
and Falcon Winter Soldier and all these black things that are not animation, but they are something new that Marvel is doing. Where do we want to begin this talk? Then it's I don't know. Well, you can start it off.
Well, I mean, I think we'll begin it with this. Like, well, for me, one, where I stand on race swapping is not one broad swoop. It's not one big paintbrush of this is what I think of race swapping for every comic book character. But I mean, where I've always stood on it is that if it geography makes a lot of sense to me. Geography and culture, like that is pretty huge indicator for me because you can't ignore it. Like I'm not gonna put a white like a white person in Africa and center of the story around him being a white person in Africa, even though it's possible. That's not that's not realistic. I.e., the Black Panther,
Oh
white
yeah,
Black
we'll
Panther,
never
and
accept a
like
white guy
that is
playing the
right.
Black
Like
Panther.
that's not happening. And I feel the same way with Doom. Like I somewhat feel the same way with Doom. Like if Doom is set in Europe and it's Latveria, Doom needs to be European. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So it's like that's like where I stand with race swapping. Now when it comes to certain characters like the Batman, I don't know. The Batman should always be white to me. Like that.
Well, let's back it up
Yeah. It's
because he's from old money. He's supposed
yeah.
to be this guy where money can only be acquired from white people. It's not until freaking I think 1965 when Americans got even the right to vote. Like there's no way that you can be black and be Batman
Right.
because it
Even
just doesn't
even
work.
down to being able to be a vigilante and do what he does. Like like just working with police the way he does.
Oh, I
Like
saw a funny meme. The reason why he covers just up to his nose is so that the cops know he's white.
facts. Like otherwise you'd be like, "Nah, y'all need to know. Like but but not like
We're
that.
gonna be civil, Yellow Spider guy. About this is what I
It's
tuned
gonna be
in for.
simple. Like
We like each other.
simple
We have the same goal. We
Yeah.
both want black superheroes to enter the Rolodex of like top 10. We both want the black superheroes in that exist right now in Marvel and in DC to be elevated. It's just the style in which we get there. I feel like recast. Oh, right, sorry, race swapping. I feel like is detrimental to the end goal.
Yeah, and like I understood your point because like the first time I heard your point, I think was like maybe 2 weeks ago, like or maybe a week ago even. Like when I heard it, and it was like,
I
well,
always
still
bring it
like
up.
yeah, like and it's like I still like I get it, but like I don't like I'm not really with it. But then like the way you brought it up yesterday with the Denzel example, and you brought that up like that resonated a lot more to
Oh,
me.
when I told you that
Yeah,
the talent that is
yeah,
Denzel Washington is
being
finite.
used
There's only one of them.
right.
So if we're
Yeah,
gonna use him, why don't we use his talent to play someone like Adam Brashear, Blue Marvel? And why don't we introduce the whole world to this black superhero? And it does wonders for Blue Marvel because Denzel lent his ability. And Denzel's not the only one. There's like maybe 10 actors in the world who can do that right now. Black actors that can do it right now.
exactly. And like that made sense to me, but I can't wholeheartedly like go all the way into it. Because here's the thing, like to me, race swapping is really about undoing what the effed up stuff that was done when this stuff was coming out, right? Like we have to understand, like when this stuff came out, you weren't going to get diversity, you weren't going to get black people represented, like that's facts. So to
True.
me, it's like now it's one, especially when it comes to like especially when it comes to this live action stuff. It's about telling the best story. It's about like still encompassing the character, but getting the best actor to play it. And like that's where my head is at. So if the better actor to play Norman Osborn, for example, is a black actor, then go with that. Like don't settle for a white actor just because just because he's white. If you cast for a white actor and somebody Giancarlo Esposito is one that always comes up, if he comes in there and knocks it out the park, are we really going to stop fans from getting an experience of the best actor for that role simply because he was made in the olden days when they didn't have brown ink in the comic book paper, right? So that's
You're
that's
talking
where
about
my head is at on
the
that.
villains of Spider-Man historically, they've been white. If you go read Amazing Spider-Man, every single issue. But recently recently he does have black villains. They exist. And so what I would say is get Giancarlo Esposito, get him to play one of those black villains. And then what happens is the same way I can name off Vulture right off the tip of the tongue, Goblin and an Octopus. If that big famous actor plays a character who's always been black, will always be black, you've elevated now a black character like that. It was done. But if that doesn't happen, what happens is Marvel Studios or Warner Brothers, all of them, the studios will go, we're already doing something black now. Uh, we don't need to worry about getting some black representation. Let's do Asian now. I'm not saying that that's the right way to think. I'm telling you the reality
Yeah,
of that is how they think.
but the way I look at that is I don't think that's the case.
You
To
don't
be
think
honest,
that's how they
I don't
think.
think that's the case because it's like, well, look at, for example, look at what we are getting with like Black Panther. Like we're going to be getting Black Panther. Like we're getting Black Panther. We're getting Wakanda. Like we're getting that black centric film, right?
Yeah.
Everything that a black person is in doesn't have to be black centric. Like everything you have a lead in doesn't have to be black centric. But
So
it's
the
still good.
Blade movie, he'll be a lead, but
Yeah,
it's
he'll
not
be a
going to be a
lead.
black
It's not
centric
like a
film.
black culture. Yeah, it's not like a come on to the cookout type of thing at the
Yeah,
theater.
but I never said
This
that I
is
wanted it to
well, no,
be a black
I'm
centric.
not saying. But what I'm getting to is that we can get both of the like. I think what I'm getting to is that we can get both of those things. Like these companies, or at least Marvel, for say, can show that that they can do both of those. That we can get diversity where we're just 100% celebrating like celebrating black culture and black pride and all that stuff, and then get diversity in the American form again. Get diversity in looking at Sam as Captain America. Like those are ideologically kind of two different opposite ends of the spectrum, but we're getting both. We're getting it like an all encompassing, and that's what I want. Like I don't want to limit. I don't want to limit it just because we're saying we want to up black superheroes that's already existing. Yeah, that's cool, but like
It is cool. It's very cool.
that's cool, but
It's
we can
transformative.
also we also don't want to limit ourselves from getting better experiences with these legendary characters too.
But I know the consequence of that, of when you get a black actor to play somebody who's white. So let me think of Michael B. Jordan and how he played the Human Torch. At any point in the movie, did we get like a black Fantastic Four character from the Fantastic Four comic books? Did they say, "Oh, we're a little bit too white right now. Let's get someone black from the Fantastic Four mythos in the movie." And I didn't watch the movie because I heard it was really bad. But like I know that it never happened. I know that they didn't get a black Fantastic Four villain or a like a guy from that mythos. Why? Because the studio Fox said we're already doing something black. Look, we're really progressive. Actually, it was a biracial relationship that her parents that Sue Storm and fucking Human Torch were in. Like it was a biracial parents. What was it? Were they stepbrother and sister? Sorry, I didn't
Okay,
watch the movie.
I don't remember. Like it was so I
But
watched it once. It was so
the
trash.
studio
It was
felt
trash.
they were doing something enough, and that's why we didn't get.
But my rebuttal to that would be that's old. Like to me, that's what old studios and studios other than to be
That
honest,
was only
I've only
7
seen
years
Marvel
ago.
and I've only seen Marvel do it. But like it's the whole ideology. I've only seen Marvel do things like in this like different type of way when it comes to superhero stuff, right? Like I haven't seen DC when it comes to this diversity stuff
Oh,
going as
didn't they
hard as
plan
what
to
they're
do a
going.
Black Superman movie with
They
Ta-Nehisi
did plan,
Coates?
but it's not. We haven't seen it yet. Like I'm just saying, like we haven't seen it executed. I'm at the point to where I'm seeing Marvel inserting diversity and moving forward like with these projects in a way to where it's like I'm not necessarily worried about just getting one black film and that's being it. You know what I mean? Like if that was the
Okay,
case, we
well,
would have.
maybe it'll be 2, maybe, and that's a little bit better, but
But I mean,
still.
I don't like at this point. I don't think it's a limit. Like I
Yeah,
don't
there
think it's a
is.
limit to that right
There's a limit. There's a limit because Marvel Studios can only do 3, sometimes it's 4 films a year.
now. Mhm.
Thor is gonna get a movie, Spidey's getting a movie over and over and over again. We know that some of these characters are just gonna keep continuing. So there is a limit based on that, based on what's already been established, which as we can justify why it was established in the 60s. That's how the writers thought, and that's the characters that they made. And all right, but because they're there, we do know that there's only be a limited amount of roles on TV. They are using television in a way to show like different, like Kamala Khan. I've never seen that much money be put behind somebody from Pakistan. That was amazing.
Right.
And they also got her superpowers wrong, and I'm kind of mad about that. But still, like that was a step forward. However, that was just TV. It's not the same as a movie budget, a marketing budget of what happened to have her face on Times Square. And bad example, her face probably was on Times Square. A bad example, but you get what I'm trying to say, though, right?
Yeah, I'll give it that.
I'm not giving them full ass points because Ironheart is happening on Disney Plus. Iron Man was your biggest franchise. She has iron in her name. Why not give that a chance and try throwing at the movie theaters and see what happens? No, you didn't do that. I recognize the weakness of that, and the how little of progressive people that Marvel Studios are.
I hear you. Like, I believe me, sure, like I hear you with that, but at the same time, it's like we we're getting like a different variety. Like, I mean, even if you're looking at the next big bad of the Kang, like the next big bad is Kang. Like,
Is
like a
is
black
Kang a white guy in the comic books?
he is. It's a race swap. It's a race swap for that.
It's a race swap.
So it's like they're to me, it's like the old thinking would be, yeah, like they will limit it, like yeah, they will cut it off. But like right now, like after getting Kang doing that, and like I'm pretty sure the rumors of John Carlo Esposito coming in, I'm not necessarily Norman
Hope not.
Osborn, but
Hope
like
not.
the rumors of that like shows that they're going to go with the best actor, and like honestly, to me, like that's what I want, and like that's like what I want even in like the job field, like go for the best person for the job. Don't
But
tell
they're
me you're
not
looking for a
going for
black
the
person.
they're not
Go for
trying to go for the best actor. Do you really believe that? Really? You don't think that they
So do
just
you
are
think they
saying,
wanted? Do you think that they intended to have Kang to be black? Do you think like that
yes,
was the plan?
they were intending to check a box, and they go, how we can't just make our main villain white again. We are Marvel Studios. We are a progressive company. The skin color of this character needs to be dark or something that is other than white because we gotta show that message. It was maybe political isn't the right word, but it was agenda driven. I'll say.
It
I
doesn't
don't
feel
believe
that.
that Jonathan Majors just applied for the job and they go, oh, you'd be
Well,
great
the,
for
the
Kang.
story that he got it was that he wasn't even supposed to be Kang. He was just supposed to be He Who Remains, and that they enjoyed it so like they loved his performance so much that
Okay.
they transformed the story for him to become Kang the Conqueror. So to me, that screams that they saw that and was like, "Yo, this guy needs to be Kang." Like,
That sounds like a spin. I have no way to independently confirm that. I feel like that's something you would say to quell any of people like me who might doubt that. I feel like that's something that they make up just to come out. I really think that it was a decision because of race. It was like we got to not be racist. And I feel like
so it's
Jonathan
like
Majors
affirmative action hire.
performative action. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Affirmative, or you know about affirmative act.
Uh,
I don't know if they got that up
no,
in Canada.
I'm familiar with it. It's when you hire
It
black
was like the
people
whole
just
movement. It was a whole movement to equate, like to offset racism and inequality.
okay,
In hiring.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
for
to
equal
offset the
opportunity.
racism.
Yeah,
And I go like, this guy's a talented actor. He could have played Bishop. Um, I don't know what Marvel's doing in Phase 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but there was a role for him to lend his talents to. And then after he was done this role, we would because I think about it in the future. I don't just live in the moment. After this phase and after this like Marvel universe would have been done and over, and you and I are old men, we go, oh, that character that Jonathan Majors plays, he is a he's a superhero. That character is a superhero that is really important. I'm glad that all those hours the man put in were and the labor that he put in elevated a character like Bishop. We're saying it's Bishop, for example. And Bishop now is one of those X-Men you think about when you think of the X-Men because of what Jonathan Majors did and because Marvel Studios gave him a lot of screen time and used him and had him standing side by side with characters like Cyclops and Logan. If they do that, that's the way we get forward. But this brief moments in history where Kang the Conqueror is being played by somebody black. For a movie, sure. But when I read the comics again, Kang the Conqueror is nothing but Reed Richards' great grandson. Kang the Conqueror is a white guy or a blue guy. He's not a dark skinned fellow, and that's the representation I need to be everlasting. I don't just need a blip in a short period of time for the
but
actor to be dark.
well, that's why I think we differ too. Because to me, I differentiate. I mean, I didn't grow up in comics. Like I'm really I'm growing up in my Marvel Unlimited app, like reading at night, like catching up like that. So like I'm not
I'm the same way.
connected.
I became a Marvel
Yeah.
Unlimited guy just like 4 years ago is when I
Yeah.
started getting into comics.
So I'm not like connecting. I'm not heavy on connecting the Marvel to the comics. Like that's not something that like makes or breaks anything that comes to me. Like I can really differentiate that. So that might be where a little bit of a difference is for that there. But I mean, when it comes to like bringing up like the Jonathan Majors example, I'm not even gonna like. I don't even want to slight Jonathan Majors because I can't think of a white actor who'd be better to play Kang than Jonathan Majors. Kang is like Jonathan Majors to me like personifies what we need from Kang. Like
Okay, fine.
be
Let's
real.
think of what Jonathan Majors could
But
have
on top,
lent his. He could have lent his
but
celebrity to being Tombstone.
but what is Tombstone in this Infinity War saga? What is like you know what I
He
mean?
could,
Like
well, if Jonathan
everybody's
Majors is talented enough, he could be what Killmonger is.
but he,
He's thought
but
of as the best villain, even though he's not Thanos.
but to us he's the best villain. But to a bunch of white fans that I see on Facebook groups and everything, he's like in the top 5 or they hate
What?
him.
Killmonger's not universally loved as the best
He's,
villain.
I mean, white people
Or
have
top
Thanos.
5.
Like, I mean, white people will have Loki and Thanos before they have Killmonger.
Okay, all
Like,
right, that's
yeah,
still up there.
like,
Though. Okay, okay, best was hyperbole, but he's still up there, and
but
Jonathan
I tell
Majors
you
could have
what,
done that.
Jonathan Majors. But what I tell you is like certain things when it comes, and it's going to sound bad when I say this, but like for black characters, those black characters sometimes feel like they're made for us black folk, right? Like when it comes to like Black Panther, it feels like Black Panther was definitely made for us, right? But when it
Yeah.
comes to say race swap, like when it comes to say like Kang the Conqueror. It feels like Kang's made for everyone, even though he's white in the comics, because he has such a huge role to play in these movies. He has such a role to play. He's going to have such a huge role to play in Secret Wars. So, like, when you're looking at to say that guy should be white because we need to focus more energy into these, our black characters, it's like, well, that's selling us short. Like, that's cutting us off from what we could be enjoying and what we could be getting to. And like, it's kind of more so separating like don't get me wrong, like energy time needs to be put into our own characters, but we need to also be putting energy and time to characters who are like the established shit in the MCU. You know what I mean? Like we need to have both is what I'm getting at. Like it's no like cut it off. It's like it's no like you're not gonna get this because you're getting this. I don't think that to be a real case and a real issue.
You're just ignoring my finite, the talking point that I keep bringing up. You said we can
Yeah,
do
like,
both,
but I
but
mean, we're getting Blade. Like,
we are getting
I
Blade,
mean,
and
like
I
these
celebrate
things,
that. That is a
like
great thing.
these things come, like, and like I think we're growing there. Like, and I know and I know you like you want to differentiate between the shows, and I get, dude, I get that, but at the same time, these are all characters coming into there. Every character, no matter how good of a performance that you put in, every character is not going to ascend to the level of what Kang means in the story. Even though Killmonger was a great villain,
You said
he's not.
Killmonger.
Yeah, I did. Even though Killmonger is ascending to the level of a great villain, he's never going to be on the level of Thanos when it comes to the impact of the whole entire story. So it's the same thing with Kang. It's like, yeah, Kang could have been, Kang could have even been Drac. I mean, he could have been like, who you brought up, Bishop, right? Kang could have been
Yeah.
any of the Jonathan Majors could have been any of those people, but it doesn't. He would have never elevated that character in the minds of everybody else, in the minds of the full fandom, up to what Kang the Conqueror is going to be in this film. And the fact that it's being played by a black man in this film and that talent, to me, it's dope. And like,
It's
I wouldn't want to take that
meaningful.
away.
He's playing a meaningful role in the largest franchise. He's gonna have a whole movie, an Avengers film named after him, which no one has ever gotten except for Ultron. Like, yes, these are great things that you're touting, and I'm recognizing it right now, and that's fantastic stuff. Okay. That being said, as true as all of this is, Kang the Conqueror is not a black character. When we watch him in the next iteration of the animated films, he'll be white again or
But
blue.
why not? But
Why not?
I mean, but
Because
why is he not a black? Like, answer the question. Like, why is he not a black character?
because
wait
he
a
was
second, wait a
drawn.
second.
Yes, Nerdman.
I was just gonna say, isn't like because he's now I mean, I can understand that argument when you're talking about something like race swapping Superman or race swapping a character that we've already seen in the movies before, like Magneto, right? Like if you race swap him, you know, the next iteration of him, whether it be in the movies or the comics, is definitely going to be a white dude or
That's right.
whatever.
X-Men
But
97, Magneto will be white again.
actually, when you introduce characters as black in films or as a different race in films, it often does have a larger impact. Like, for instance, now Nick Fury is predominantly black in the comics, right? Like, it's not like it just
No, there
had
is a
like.
separate one. There is the real Nick
I
Fury who's always
realize
been Nick.
it's a separate. Yeah, I know. Sorry, go on.
You know,
There's a
actually, you know. Don't worry, you know.
no,
You
but
know
tell
what I was
your
gonna say. You know what I was gonna say. You're good.
no, you can tell your audience. Sorry, I forget that we're actually speaking to like
We're
other
speaking to
people.
people like Rob, who's joining, says Nerdette Kang got race swap for the MCU. Yeah, Kang, but we are loosely speaking about all race swaps and everything. And by the way, Nerdette said that she's white and she says Killmonger is top 3, but he's still blue. You're right. He is blue, so it's a little bit different than
And like I said, a lot of white people got Killmonger in their top 3. A lot of black people got Killmonger at number 1. So like that's like where I'm saying you elevate. It doesn't matter what performance that a black person could put in. If you keep them in a certain role, and that's maybe not more so on what Marvel does. Maybe that's just more so on like how people view black culture outside of our culture. Like if you look at it that way, there's only it's somewhat of a glass ceiling, if you will, of what you can get into this black and like into a black centered black character movie.
Yeah, but
And
I
that
get
sucks to say, but it feels like it's the truth. There's like a ceiling to
But
how high.
Kendall, I actually think that you've been spitting pure facts, by the way. Great stuff.
what happened to Nerdman's connection?
I was like, oh God.
No, but I was gonna say I get what you're saying, that those characters, Chillmonger, I get what you're saying, that those characters can't be elevated to the kind of universal, where it's not like, oh, this character's kind of aimed towards black people, but white people can enjoy him as well and whatever. But really, the impact that it has is on, it's telling a kind of black story or whatever. So it can't be the universal overall kind of or overarching influence on the story, right? That can never happen unless you focus more on those black characters and elevate them to a stage where they will be that. I mean, there's a world where Killmonger definitely could be. If Lex Luthor can be a Justice League villain, why can't Killmonger be an Avengers villain? You know what I mean?
What
It's
if
like,
does that too? What if?
Yeah, he could get there, sure.
Yeah.
And eventually one day it'll happen in the comic books.
And like I'm not saying that like that's not possible. I mean, I think if you put in the work, even if you make a movie and it doesn't have, you can make a movie. There's a lot of great actors out there that you don't have to put that, that have somebody else other than Jonathan Majors do, and just making a movie will bump that stock up. You know what I mean? Like just making a movie will elevate that, and over time, he can grow to reach that level. But it's like until we get there, like let's get both. And even when we get there, why not give the best? At the end of the day, it comes to giving the job to the best actor. Like that's just what I want at the end of the day. If I'm an actor, I would hate to hear that I can't get a job because I'm white, even though I'm the best actor for the role.
Well,
like,
because what you're doing, it's not just a job; it's a adaptation of an already existing character. And if you don't look like that, you shouldn't get the job. Hugh Jackman, love him, but he's really tall. He probably shouldn't be Logan. So it's not just skin color; it's also height and physique and the ability to grow a beard or not. Like you got fake beards.
But this is called acting. This is the thing that, like,
how do you act shorter? How do you act darker?
Yeah, to me, I'm always more. I don't like so much. It can be good, but I don't like so much where they get an actor and they're like exactly like the character, because it makes the actor lazy in terms of actually doing a performance, and I actually know exactly what they're going to do. But when you actually get an actor that's like a little bit off kilter from the actual character that they're trying to do, and that but they're a great actor, like say Robert Pattinson or something like that, and you're like, well, he doesn't scream Batman to me, but you know he's a fantastic actor with a lot of versatility. So I don't know what Patterson is going to do when he performs as Batman, and that's so much more interesting to me than than just getting some, as I said, some actor who's like
That's so
already
different,
looks
though.
like Batman, has the physicality, has the voice and whatever, and I'm like, okay, well, I immediately know everything this guy's going to do, because when you're like that, you have to create a character. That's the beauty of it. When you're a bit off kilter, when you're not what is expected, you have to actually go there and develop the character yourself and create a character so as to become that thing.
And can I say something that this was comment? Because I mean, I'm against race swapping of comic characters that
I'm a fan of.
and that's facts. Like you don't. That's what I'm saying. It's not a broad switch. Like I'm not a. If we were getting a Black Superman movie, I wanted it to be about the different Superman. I didn't want it to be Clark Kent. Like I wasn't going to be here for a Black Clark Kent movie. Like that just.
Wait,
they
why
say what
don't
it
I
is.
just use every reason you just gave me? Why can't I
You
just flip
can,
that
you
around
can,
and tell
like
you?
you can. I'm not
Are
saying
you
I'm going to be
admitting to
against
being
it.
illogical? What's going on
Hey,
right now?
like I'm just being 100% real. Like it's not a broad brush of going against. It's kind of case by case. Like it's what I mentioned with Batman. It's like I'm not going to replace Batman, but it's
But the
like
reasons I was offering up, I should have kept my mouth shut because I was like, "Oh, it's because he's old money." You were just
well,
saying
he
because
is
he was
old.
so iconic.
He is old money. I mean, but that makes more sense. But that's not my reasoning for Batman. For Superman, it's like I just don't. I want Clark Kent to stay Clark Kent because it makes more sense to me. It's less problems. Like it's not a broad.
I do
Let him
think
finish. He's talking himself into a hole. Let him keep
No,
going.
I'm just saying it's not. I've said it at the beginning. It's not a broad brush. Like it doesn't touch it. Like my answer, like it doesn't apply to like the holy grail, if you will, of these like characters. Like Robert Downey Jr. Well, I mean, I guess you can make the same. I guess you can make the same argument for Tony Stark that you made before.
Yeah, because he inherited money.
Yeah. So you can.
No,
you
I
can say that
I don't think that Tony Stark, because it's not I don't think it's a what do you call it, a necessary component of his story to have inherited the money, whereas it's a necessary component of the Batman story for him to inherit the money. Tony Stark could have easily just, made his own money, like, because he's a super genius, and it would still make as much sense as him being Iron Man. But
like James Gordon, like come on, like James Gordon can definitely be interchangeable. Like it's like
you guys are acting like cops and skin color have nothing to do with each other. That's like the worst. What?
I know black cops. Like it's hella black cops that like
and they're a lot different than the white cops, aren't they?
No, they're more like. I mean, like they're kind of more like cops are more like cops. Like you can always spot out a cop. Like I'll put cops over.
Can I go back to, because I've been talking for long and I wanted to go back to why the argument I was making is like, it's interesting in terms of like race swapping, even like iconic characters. So Batman and Superman, I wouldn't mind you race swapping him once you get a modern day Superman right. Yeah, like once you.
All right, then I'll tell you what I told Kendall earlier. Now, Warner Brothers Studio is now doing a Black Superman franchise. He'll appear in other Superman films, and they're fulfilling their black quota. Watch us not get a static. Watch us not get an icon, because we're already doing something black enough.
But notice I said Marvel's the only
annoying thing about.
You're right.
That's the annoying thing about it as well. Like doing a Black Superman is asinine because you've got Jon Stewart, you've got Martian Manhunter. Why do a Black Superman? Like,
no, I'm gonna go even harder core right now. I don't want Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart has the name Green Lantern, and any labor that some black actor or Jon Stewart himself does to elevate that title of Green Lantern, that branding, is misused. I want original black characters so that I can go Vixen. I can say other characters and have an exact person in mind who has dark skin. I need that. And it's not just black, it's like an Asian descent, all the corners of the world.
So let me ask you, are you going next level?
If they did a Green Lantern Corps and they have...
Well, the Green Lantern Corps is like a global, not even global, planetary, galactic.
So kind of piece together what you're saying. So you're going next level to say we're
Huh?
using black actors to prep this stuff up more. Like the black actors will be used inevitably to prep up a white character in the
to,
comics,
to prep up the word Green
like
Lantern, which
which would
you
prep up
can
a white.
commonly associate with with John Stewart. Guys, remember that animated cartoon that we used to watch when we were kids, the Justice League? What happened after that show finished? The next cartoon with a Green Lantern was Hal Jordan. The next movie they did was Ryan Reynolds to Hal Jordan. And now it's not until 2022 where we got a John Stewart film. And it looks like in this new animated universe, they'll go with John Stewart. But I don't want the okey doke. What do you call it? Like they're going to take him away, and one day it'll be Hal Jordan again being the main guy in all these media appearances. I don't want that. That's
Actually,
a
I
waste.
think he's Hal.
It's
Wait a
deceptive.
second, no, but like they're space cops. There's loads of them. Like
Per Earth, though, there's only supposed to be one per sector. Am I right? Maybe even two. They changed that rule recently. It's two now, isn't it?
yeah, but I mean,
You're
come on,
justifying it within the story. I'm not mad at the storyline reasons
No, it
of why there
depends
could
on
be
what
two Green
the
Lanterns.
answer to your question is it depends on what the comic writer says. It could be one in the sector, it could be two in the sector. it
And
could
I'm
be
not
10
mad
in
at
the-
what the comic writer says. Comic writer can make it work and have a justifiable reason of why Hal Jordan and John Stewart are both the
and they-
Green
but I
Lantern.
feel- but I-
None of what I said had to do with the comic book storyline. It had
But I-
to do with branding and children who are going to grow up and think of Green Lantern and associate it with a white-skinned character at times and a dark-skinned character at other times, depending on what era they grew up. Because I think Green Lantern, I do think of the black one, John Stewart, and now I don't anymore. Like depending on what time you grew up, I would rather have them just do black characters who have always been black to boost a black name and black.
But I will say this though, like DC is DC is kind of the worst people to have this conversation with because DC got so many, like DC got Cyborg that's up there, right? Then you have, like you said, you got Martian Manhunter that's up there.
Vixen is great.
Like
Vixen's untapped potential.
You have that stuff that they're not tapping into, and that's DC. Like when DC announced that Black Superman stuff, they also did announce a Static Shock. Like they also announced that Michael B. Jordan would be producing like a Static Shock film. Like, but that's just DC. Like that's like I don't. DC has a lot more other issues to figure out before
they are doing Blue Beetle. I'll give them that, and I like that we're gonna get a Latino superhero.
And we're getting the Rockets like black guy.
But wait a second, Blue Beetle was originally white.
Ted Cords or Jaime Reyes?
Who was the original Blue Beetle? He was white, dude.
So that yeah. You're very, that's an astute point to bring up.
You're not into that?
No. Because it goes against everything I was saying earlier. I believe if I'm not. Hold on a minute. Alan Scott was also a white guy, but they stopped using Alan Scott too.
Do you realize?
Let me get there though. Let me get there because you made me look really stupid. If they cease the Ted Cords depiction of Blue Beetle, and if we only ever get Jaime Reyes and we commit to that comic book wise and in every form, and they just go like Ted Cords was the one back in time, and in every universe, whether it's New 52 or whenever DC Comics reboot again, if it's always Jaime Reyes as the Blue Beetle, that kind of like, that is enough for me.
Okay.
Yeah, the brand of Blue Beetle is that Latino fellow named Jaime Reyes. Okay. I think that's his name. It's Jaime, right, guys?
So why are you bothered with Hawkman then?
Until this moment, no one mentioned Hawkman on the whole stream.
Because it doesn't.
No, but I mentioned Hawkman to you before, and now, like, I think with the movie, they'll probably commit to him being black.
Oh, okay. So if what I just said, if in every iteration now, Hawkman's skin color just happens to be black, can that work though? How do you just say this guy's skin color is different? It's not like Ted Cords is a different human than Jaime Reyes. It's not like that. It's you want the Hawkman's skin color just to be dark all in comics all of a sudden? That's a bit. No, I don't want that. No.
You are a complex fellow. Anyway,
it makes a lot of sense actually.
This dude's complex as shit.
I don't want the character to be. I don't want a character to be permanently black. I don't necessarily need a character to be permanently white. I need the best story. Like I need the best story to be told, and I need like that. That's to me like again where my priority lies. It's the best story and the best actor, the best person for the job getting it. goes. Now, like I
Yeah.
said, for certain situations, like it's not a paintbrush thing because I don't want to see a black person in Latveria being Doctor Doom. Like it's not a
Yeah,
paintbrush.
absolutely.
It's
You
not a
know,
paintbrush. So it's.
yeah.
I'm just saying. I just can't. I can't see where like it's wrong to get both of.
I
I
told
just
you,
can't
I
see where
keep
it's wrong to
telling you
get both.
guys, and you don't hold Marvel to the standard. You think they're above this, but I guarantee you, if we're getting a Black Kang, they're looking at their Avengers movies and every other franchise that they're doing, going, we're definitely satisfying the black quota. We're good. Let's go give our attention to the other ethnic groups that are not black.
But
That is how they think.
what is their quota though? Because we're getting
The
so
quota
much
is to
black.
have
Like, what is
representation
their
of
quota?
check every box
But
to be satisfied with the
but
amount of black actors on screen.
look, we got like 13 projects in phase 4 right now, and like it's so much diversity that we've already gotten in phase 4. Like I'm like, what is?
Yeah,
They
and I
don't have to
commend
go. They don't have to go too much. And to be honest, we're already over. I hate to sound like that dude, but black folks only 13% of the United States population.
they're not 13% of the movies.
But we are about like at this point, we're reaching to a point that we're a little bit.
The 13% of Disney Plus.
At this point, overall, like we're reaching the point where we're like, yeah, we're above that 13%, which is great. But like, I'm not necessarily here.
Where?
I mean, like I mentioned, these next stuff that's coming out, 13% is 1 out of 10.
Okay,
Like
they have 30
essentially 1 out of
films. Black
1 out
Panther
of
2
10.
is
But I'm talking about phase
Black,
4.
Black Panther 2 is the 30th. Oh, you're talking about specifically
Phase
phase
4.
4.
Like I'm talking
We're
about where
not
we're moving
counting the
forward.
first.
Yeah,
I do count I do
I
count
don't.
the first 18.
In this conversation, I'm moving forward because like this whole diversity stuff didn't really like take off, and start running right into our face until like maybe a couple years ago or so, like to where it's really like slapping us. Like it's been coming up, but like we're really at the point now to when it's being implemented. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say Black Panther is a start off point because I don't even think Black Panther was necessarily that part of that like whole like moving up. Like I think it's a great representation, but I think moving forward, like seeing what they're doing with Sam, seeing how they're bringing Monica in, seeing how they're doing this, I like bringing in
Well,
Ironheart.
Monica's
Yeah,
not the
like,
lead. It's a
but I
Captain
mean, well,
Marvel
she's
movie.
not the lead, but she's going to steal the show. Like, see,
I hope so.
so like seeing how they're doing all that, the diversity is like.
No, so I'll give you Blade, which you're right. I'm gonna give you this too. That's a great point. That moving forward, that 13% is being matched. Okay, with Blade, with the Falcon movie, with this Black Panther movie that's in phase 4. That 3 black things, which is more than the other 29 movies prior.
Yeah, like
that.
it's they were on that side.
What do you make of ethnic sidekicks then?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's
because Marvel.
Well, I know what it's for. Well, I know that the people who are writing the movie go, "Oh, look, this movie we made about the white guy is great, but we're not racist. Let's get someone dark skin inside their ethnic sidekick." That's all. That's all that is. And I don't value it. I mean, it got Falcon to where he is now, where he finally will be part of a movie. I got my problems with him finally be movie worthy once he calls himself Captain America and the message.
You too? Yeah, I had that problem too. Because it's like, bro, I'm telling you, Anthony Mackie won't cast to be a lead character in the Captain America 4. If that's what you're getting at, like the fact that he just got elevated from sidekick to not just because they even want to push that on us. Like I'm not here for it. That's why I'm not really that high on Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean that series. Like I'm not that high on Mackie being pushed up to where it is because it's not. I think he's the best black male actor for that role because he was cast as a sidekick. So I mean I don't know if we're completely like in sync with our reasonings for that, but my reason like is.
But it's true. That's what they've done with all of the Wong is now the Sorcerer Supreme. This Asian girl, Miss Marvel, is probably going to be like the actual. Like there's always this ethnic sidekick, and then they like, and I'm not a big fan of sidekicks. The only sidekicks I've ever liked is the Shazam family. Like I don't like Supergirl. I don't like Batgirl, Robin, all of them. I just think they're side dish, like I want a Superman story. Like don't, but I see this tendency in Marvel, which I think is fairly embarrassing for their like first couple of phases, where it was just like this. They'd always have the ethnic sidekick, you know, like was it Iron? What's Don Cheadle's character?
Rhodey, War Machine.
Rhodey or whatever and stuff like that. That annoys me way more than race swapping. Like race swapping, you know, like for me, race swapping, as long as it's done for artistic reasons rather than, can you at least agree on this? If it isn't done for like a quota thing, if it's done for artistic reasons, right, where the director actually genuinely thinks that this actor, whoever he is the best actor for this particular project and for the particular vision that he has, that at least that's okay. Like for the
like
most part. I mean,
like you said, Nerdman, if everything's hunky dory and we're in this post-racist society, and yeah, sure, just get the best actor for the job, I can see why you know, it's not a big deal for a comic book character who looks like this to be casted by someone who looks different. In that world, sure.
We're working. They're trying to work. Hollywood's trying to give that image at least,
because
towards
as
that.
well,
And that's where
you don't get the kind of complaints. Nolan cast Bane as not a South American, as like some British white dude. You know what I mean? Like, and you never see these kind of like outrage unless it's the other way around. And I find it kind of weird. I think you got a little bit of that with
target your comments on me. The outrage that coming at him, the outrage that I'm giving you isn't the same as other internet folks.
No, true. I'm not saying that, but I said you got a little bit of that with the Doctor Strange casting the white woman as the what's her name?
Because the original country is Tibet, and if this movie is to be shown in China, Tibet can't exist, and so the Ancient One was a Celtic character.
Yeah. Okay. So whatever. Like the fact that they did that was you know, like instead of getting an Asian character, they could have switched countries if they wanted to kowtow for some reason to China. But I don't see the kind of energy kept the same and focused on when it's, you know, this way. All of a sudden, if it's a black guy taking over the role, oh, it's because of quotas, it's because of this, it's because of that. Or if it's an Asian guys sometimes get it as well. You know, even in Star Wars, where they're completely original characters.
Exactly.
You know, you've got this Asian girl getting attacked for being in the film. You know, so I just think I don't want to, even if it is a character that you know, means something to me, and I think maybe they shouldn't switch the race. I don't want to add to that chorus of toxicity that comes with this particular conversation. To be honest, I just don't think it's worth it, just because I want to see a comic character look like he did in the comics, to add to that chorus of nastiness that underlies like some of what this critique attracts.
Okay, let's not look at the chorus of nastiness. Let's look at the chorus of love the chorus of love that the Black Panther movie did in 2018, where they just got this guy out of nowhere, boom, put him. Huh? Yeah, that is what I want to focus on, and that's what I want these black actors to be used. If Daniel Kaluuya was casted instead to be, I don't know, I think I can't even think of someone. If he was the Vulture,
I do think they wasted that. Bro.
If Angela Bassett was casted as freaking, I don't pick, I can't think. Oh, Aunt May, you know, like if they would have used those actors in those other roles, we'd have never had the ensemble cast for the Black Panther movie, which was epic.
I hear your point there, but I kind of wish they would have used them for other black. Like in the same vein, I wish they would have used M'Baku, like the guy with Winston Duke, for another black role. Like I wish they would have saved Daniel Kaluuya for, instead of just being a one away. I wish they would have saved him for another black role, or another different role. Like that, you can still put your black talent in the wrong. It's about putting your talent in the wrong place. And if we focus everything into our black movies, we won't get stuff to elevate past to what white people see black movies. And that's really that's
Your
really
problem
what
is with comic books. They're not doing Kang level black characters in comics or Asian characters in comics.
they're
That's
not. Yeah,
so we got to look at Marvel Comics, the publishing company, and say, hey, get this stuff started. Write a story right now. What's taking you so long? Why is Jonathan Hickman and
just
Kieran Gillen and all them guys not
just color it in.
just
Like,
color it in?
just color it in. Like,
Just
you
color
got
it
a
in.
story, like, just like if you got a Kang story, and just bruh, just reprint that. You don't need.
You draw? Do you
I
draw?
I don't. I just that.
Kendall?
I don't draw. I don't draw. That's just
What's he saying?
Yeah, we can barely hear you, Kendall. Speak closer
whoa,
to the mic.
whoa! You can't hear me for real.
We heard you a little bit. He said no, he doesn't draw.
Oh, I thought you were saying you'd ink it if you had a story, because I've got like a
No, I'm saying
story.
I'm saying if you got the story, if you already got the story made, like it's not hard to just make, especially a character like Kane, to make him black. Like it's not hard to just go do that.
Kendall, rub on the microphone like close to your
Did
mouth.
I unplug? Hold on, I might have unplugged.
I think he just speaks low sometimes. He's like,
I
got this
think that
chill
I
vibe
think what's
and he just-
happening though, I think the microphone like is probably backwards where the recording is happening on this side and not on this side. I think that's what's happening. Well, I hear it. Am I right about that? Was the sensitivity on the opposite end of the microphone? Maybe.
Are we here? Is it better?
Much better.
That's better. Yeah, I just had to turn it up. We're good.
Look,
For some reason.
before I go, I just want to say one thing, right? Like I'm gonna go back once again to the artistic kind of thing of like, yes, I get it. Black Panther, amazing, did amazing numbers, did amazing
Original.
things.
Yes.
I and an original character. I love it. You know, and Blade, you know, the same thing. Love that. You know, I hope they do a good Spawn movie. I hope they do, you know, Martian Manhunter. All of those characters, I want to see them, and I want to see them elevated to being the, you know, having central stories in their universes. That being said, I do find some interest artistically if it's the right character, if nothing about the character screams out that they have to be a particular race. I do not see why there should be any barrier to anybody coming in to at least audition to see, hey, maybe this guy could be an amazing Joker. I had in my mind, and people are going to laugh at me because they're going to think this is really stupid, but I had in my mind, like, if I was doing a Batman film, I'd want the guy who played in The Hangover, who was Mr. The little Asian guy.
Oh yeah, him.
I would want him to at least audition for me, because I think he's nuts, and I think there's something about him that would make just a like crazy comic accurate Joker, you know, and whatever. So it again, like, if you have that kind of artistic idea and you want to follow it through and it kind of could work, I don't think there should be any barrier to anybody doing any of these things, because again, if you're not quite what the character is, it gives you that much more opportunity to act. And when you're doing real acting and you're really in the zone, I think that's when the greatest performances come out, honestly.
And that's a great, like, and to me, like, there's multiple reasons why, like, I feel like this race, what, like, to prove these points, and like that's a great one, because like mine is even just a bit different as far as just, I just want the opportunity, like I
Yeah.
just want I just want the door to be open for someone to be elevated to that level of that, because I mean I got to dip out of here too, so that's probably my last point. I just want folks to be like, I just want the opportunity to be elevated to that level, to be real. Like I'm a huge Jonathan Majors fan. Ever since I saw Lovecraft Country, like I kind of delved in, and then, you know, even in this, he's in the Five Bloods, which Chadwick Boseman will have, like that, like his performances in every movie that I've seen, dude, don't miss. And it's when you're coming up with your next villain, when you're coming up with your next like highlight, I wholeheartedly don't think, like, I don't think, one, that the white people at Marvel would think next level to say, let's come up with a story while we cast him as Kang. I don't think they think next level to be like that. This let's make up this story. I think the true story, and what Jonathan Majors has said too, in the articles is that he did not audition for Kane, but they saw his stuff, and they were like they changed the story around that. Like now we're getting the Kane dynasty. So like to me, that shows genuineness to giving the role to the best character out there. Like that's where I'm like that's where I'm at with it, and it's like I don't want to get cut short. Black actors fight enough to get screen time to be like, well, we're not going to cast you as black because we want to focus on these black characters, which there is still a finite number of black characters that are worth making a movie on. Which not
Yeah, and I'll worry about that when they burn up all the black characters when they don't.
I mean, is there? I mean, a finite character worth making movies for? Worth making movies for? Like, is there a finite? Like, is there really?
Well, we haven't
many
reached the
Marvel?
limit because I think you could do a Luke Cage, you can do a Monica Rambeau film, you can do.
Are they
who
worth
else?
making movies about Luke?
I don't
Luke
think you
Cage?
can do a Luke Cage movie.
No, you don't think it's movie quality? Okay, how about Storm? Is she movie quality?
Yeah,
No,
I think Storm is movie
not on her own.
I think Storm is movie quality on her own.
So
On her own.
is any
A
X-Men
Storm
character
movie.
on his? Can any X-Men character do it on their own other than
To
Wolverine?
be honest, I don't even think Wolverine should have a movie on his own.
All right,
Let
then
alone like
there goes your credibility.
I mean, I'm just looking at the stories you can tell, bro. I think I think the story that they could tell with Storm could make her.
I was thinking of popularity, and
Yeah.
her name on a movie title is enough to convince people, oh, this is movie worthy. Nuke Cage, fine. He's not. But what could happen is, they do it anyways. Because Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't movie worthy either, nor was Iron Man, believe it or not, in 2008. But they did it.
I mean, but we're at a different time now. Like it's like that was when they had
We're
to
at
come
a
up.
time
That was
where
when they had
everything's more
I think
acceptable
I think it's like it's a different level because we got these shows, and it's like, well, it's still more show worthy. Like it's like we were breaking ground. Like they were using the best of what they had back then, like at that phase. Now
So
we're at the
why-
point to where it's like people weren't clamoring for Shang-Chi. Like it's like it was a great,
but
a
it
good
happened,
movie.
and
But
it made
it happened, and
430
but we
million.
see, and that's not what Marvel.
Without China in a COVID pandemic, I think that was a good number.
But what about the Eternals? All that diverse, like,
Yeah, they race swapped there, so and the movie was bad. Also,
I mean, but they shouldn't. I don't think they're movie worthy. Like, I don't think they're movie worthy in that. Like, I think it's a time of making movies about non-movie worthy characters and non-movie worthy stories. It's not there anymore. So all that to say, like, I think it is a finite amount of black characters that you can make these movies about. And like you said, we still got to get there. Like we're just getting.
I agree with you, Kendall, but like I do think the MCU still has time, still has that.
Yeah, we still have time to get there.
Yeah, they still have that grace period, and I think the DC does as well because I think they can market it specifically as that and use that to boost their numbers. But what I think, Chillmonger, is you do have to accept a certain reality, which is that in the 60s and prior to that, but specifically in the 60s, when the comic book characters were booming and there were a lot of people putting out comics, I think it was like before. I definitely
it's
think
a long question because I think Kendall's got to go.
Yeah, I got to dip out at like 5 minutes.
Well, this is really short. In the 60s, there was this trial, right, which was connected to I forget this guy's just now forgetting his name, but there was this trial that led to the Comics Code Authority, basically, and it was connected to these kind of communist witch hunts that were going on. And what that meant is that throughout like the biggest period of publication for comics and prior to that, people would not dare make black characters or bring up black issues or anything like that because they were genuinely frightened that the government would tap them as fucking as communists, and they'd be tracked and they'd be like have all kinds of problems, be run out of the industry, lose their jobs, lose their whatever. So during this boom period where all these iconic characters were being made and their stories being told, Black and Asian and whatever characters were not being made.
Yeah.
Right? And they are the big IPs now. And what you're saying by saying, I don't want race swapping is you're saying, in Spider-Man, I don't want black character. I'm saying you're not welcome in a Spider-Man movie. You're not welcome in a Batman movie.
No, I'm
You're not welcome in a
advocating for
Superman movie.
Tombstone. I'm advocating for the black Spider-Man villains like Prowler to be used.
But like what we said what we said last week, I know we gotta get out of here. But like what we said on Saturday, where else would you get a black person in a Batman film? Like if in a black man film, where else would you get a black?
There's my answer there. What Nerdman just said. They exist. Say the name again, Nerdman, please.
No, I'm talking about McCarthyism.
I thought you said McCarthy, like that was some black character. I heard McCarthy. Okay, so
it was this guy who was doing the communist witch hunt. Anyway, go on.
My bad. My solution is for you. You asked me where are you going to get a black character in a Batman? Let's pretend there is no black character. There probably aren't many high profile. There aren't. Okay, you're not going to get a black character of meaning in a Batman movie the way I prefer it, the way I like it. Not going to have black Commissioner Gordon. It's going to be a very white movie. But the studio, I'm demanding to do a black movie with a black superhero called Static because it's the same studio. So yeah, in the singular film, you're right. It'll be very white leaning because they're adapting a white comic, which historically is inclusive. I'd also get on the phone with the guy who's writing the Batman comic today and say, hey, I don't care what you call him, but he needs to have dark skin and he needs to be a Batman villain. Go. And I need to, like, if I care.
But if you make a villain today, we're not going to get up to that level.
You guys are talking about the 60s. You're talking about some case that happened years ago. It's been years since, and we haven't gotten that.
But I'm saying, if you make
an iconic black Batman villain, tell me an iconic black Batman.
I can't. That's why this is going to be a white Batman movie. But the studio is in charge of doing black other superheroes. Give me Static, Icon.
Do you accept that there'll be probably more eyes on a Batman movie than a lot of different types of like?
I do.
If you were look, not even that there will, because I think they should take more. They should take more risks, and I don't think I think they're risk averse. And I think that, like for instance, a Martian Manhunter movie, if done right, can make bank. I think like a lot of those characters can make bank, but certainly on paper, it's less of a risk, and you're more likely to have eyes on the Batman movie than you are a lot of the black characters.
So you're telling me that a lot of eyes will be on a black. A lot of eyes will be on a dark skin. So start over. I was talking over.
Yeah, no, I was saying.
I was interrupting you because I thought what I. It's a horrible lag. Go.
Yeah, in terms of a black actor being able to showcase their talents, they should be able to, in as highly regarded properties as the Batman or Superman or whatever. So if you've got to race swap a character or two so that they can show off their talents in things that we know and almost can guarantee are going to be box office smashes, let them do it.
There's such a thirst and appetite for black characters to be box office smashes. What happened with Black Panther will happen again. Watch. I have faith a Static movie will be a hit.
A Static movie would definitely be a hit.
That's why you don't need to do it.
It's not going to be as big, no matter how big of a hit it is for black folks. It's not going to be as big of a hit as a Batman movie for the entire general audience.
I do think that. I do think that there's going to be enough people to make that movie a hit for the general audience.
You know why Black Panther is such a hit? Not because so many white people went out to see it. It's because it brought so many black people who ain't even comic book fans to go out and see it. So
where did they go?
So like imagine where Black Panther would be if it had the same hype as say like an Iron Man movie, or same hype as say like a white led movie. Imagine how high that would have been elevated to if you had that on top of the black culture coming in. So like what I'm getting at is like you're going to reach a ceiling because it's just white people aren't interested in like traditional black stories. Like, and that's just the way it is. Like white people aren't interested totally. Like Miss Marvel, for example. If Miss Marvel had the like if Miss Marvel wasn't about a Pakistani woman, but it had the quality of content that it had, it would have been like touted as one of the best shows of the year, like undoubtedly, like across the board. But it's just the fact that nobody is like, even myself, and even like my wife didn't finish the series because she's just not that interested in that, like, in immersing herself in that culture as much as she's interested in immersing herself in a culture that's African culture and one that she relates with. Like, it's just those things have a ceiling, and unfortunately, like with Miss Marvel, the ceiling was a lot lower than what like the black culture ceiling is, because it's like
It's way less
it's America.
underrepresented.
Yeah, it's America there, but like black represent black representation can get close, if you will, because like we're here in America, like hip hop, for example, it's like one of the biggest growing industry, like one of the biggest like music industries apparently, that's listened to in America. Like, we can get up there, but at the end of the day, because of the way America's set up, like there's a glass ceiling on what our content can truly reach. And that's sad and that's effed up, but that's the truth. And that's why I think it's like it's important that we do our own. We have our Black Panthers, we have our black character movies, but then we also have movies where it's like a race, like to where it's like we can put the best actor in the role. To where we can put the best actor there. And if that best actor happens to be black, he can be there. Like, it's not that, like, I'm not here for intentionally. If they went out there and said we want to get a black king, I might not be as here for the race swap. But it's like it's more so of I'm here to get the best actor for the role, and if he happens to be black, then we get him. Then I'm here for the race swap. That's my job. I'm not here to be used as a race swap type of thing.
You'll
But
you'll never
if it's
know.
solely about the black, we'll
You'll
never
never know
know.
the answer.
You'll know in the performance. You like we know in the performance.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what it really comes down to. It's like if Jonathan Majors comes out and it's trash, then it's like, dang, did they really just want a like, did they really just want to just make him black? Honestly, too, and I'm honestly a little worried about it because I saw that leaked trailer photo, and he's black, he's brown skin, like so they
When you
probably
say
got
brown skin, you
he's
mean
brown skin, like he's not blue in the
like
Ant
he was
Man.
untouched.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's himself.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
chilling. Like, what I mean? It doesn't take anything away from his performance. Still, like, that's Kang, and like it's scary as fuck. But they're going one more time after that to show me a Kang the Conqueror that's not blue, then it becomes a representation issue for me. And that's what I had an issue with Moses Ingram as well. It's a similar thing. It's because it's like Moses Ingram, I know she's a new character, but it felt like a diversity piece because all of the other Inquisitors don't have human skin. She's the only person on that side that has human like colored skin. But they chose to have her. She could have been Moses Ingram could have been cast and been a different color skin, and I wouldn't have had an issue. You know what I mean? But it's like I felt like they purposely wanted a black person to play that role and to have that.
No doubt.
So it's like that's where I don't want to be used. But at the same time, if we're going solely based off the role and you can tell off the performance, you can tell off the show, really, like, I'll leave it up to your discretion. But I feel like you can tell really whether or not this person is a diversity hire, like the sidekicks. Like, you can tell they're diversity hire. You can tell whether or not it's that, or you can tell whether or not, like, yo, this is genuine. And I'm gonna be real, even with Black Panther, what they did with the cast, I feel like Marvel checked the box with that because they didn't. It's clear they didn't put their best graphic designers on that film. It's clear they didn't put their
Oh,
best effort into that film.
yeah, yeah.
Like they wanted to check the
Admittedly,
box to have
w-
every black person on that, but you don't see black people on other sets and other stuff and other properties. So like that's like I don't want to be used, but you can tell on the content, like you can tell in certain places if it's the best actor for the
yeah, at
role.
least you're not ignoring it. There's
Yeah,
another side thing. I know you're leaving, but in
yeah.
Infinity War, they used the like good CGI people to do that movie just so that that could be pristine in time for its release.
Yeah, so it's like that's not what I'm here. And then they talked about having all the inclusion. Like I'm not being blind to the fact like they are being used, and I will call out a race swap that is being used. Like don't get me wrong, like I will call that shit out if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel like the performance is there, right? But if you can tell in the performance whether or not it was a race swap or whether or not it was actually genuine in there, and hopefully like those examples kind of like especially like Moses Ingram for me is like very telling because they intentionally just did not make her look like the rest of the Inquisitors. So it's like that's just where I'm at with that. But I do have to dip, man. But I appreciate every time I get to hang out with you, bro. It's dope conversation, bro.
Yes. Likewise, loved having you on.
Hey man, I gotta get you over there, Normies Nerds, sometime soon. I'm gonna be doing morning stream, so be able to get you in.
Yeah, it's the best time to get me.
All right, bro. Be easy, dog.
Take care. Folks, I'm going to read your live chats because you wrote a lot of them. D Diesel says, basically any man who's in charge of shields is called Nick Fury. The god Apocalypse is African. His weird skin is part of his mutation. Would you say albinos born in Africa to black parents aren't African? Hey, that's like a trick question. We're not touching that one. Didn't end up being heavily involved in Africa. He is literally born there. He is called in Saba Nur, which means the first one because he is a first mutant. Apocalypse came from Okora, aka Mutant Nation, that was split 2 years before Apocalypse had even migrated to Africa. No, it was never a solo title for Hal Jordan, ever. And you can clearly never read Green Lantern comics if you think that. It was established from the beginning. Green Lantern are a group, not a solo act. Again, like I said to everybody else, Yellow Spider guy, the Green Lantern branding of that, like in the outside world, in the real world where we buy comic books and we think of these things as intellectual properties. I don't want that Green Lantern branding to be associated with someone who has dark skin sometimes and someone who has light skin sometimes. It would be much more better if we had a branding, an IP that was strictly solely associated with someone with dark skin to get up there. When people list off superheroes and they say Green Lantern, it's very common that Hal Jordan is thought of first. I sharing isn't even something I want either. Just give me the straight up black, always been black. Apocalypse has been retconned. Yeah, that's true. I don't think there are many black characters that can solo a movie, but that's due to the comic writers, to be honest. You're right. We got to start there and then like take out the roots of the vegetable. We got to start from comic books and then get all these black characters in existence, and then years later they'll exist. Why do I know that? It just happened with Kamala Khan. She was invented in her first comic series you can buy. It says 2014 right on the side. It is 8 years later and she's known, like she's popular. Do that. And hopefully you can give the best artists and the best writers to characters like Kamala Khan. Dude, I don't care. I'm not going to read your guys' arguments. I see what you mean, yes. RF Gaming Channel says McCarthyism, a stain in history. Okay. Tombstone is black. Most don't know this because his like gray skin, because he's like, yeah, he looks different. Why are some retcons accepted but not others? Why are some retcons accepted but not others? Because the level of care. If somebody really cares about Moira McTaggart, they're probably fuming that Jonathan Hickman did what he did back in House of X, Powers of X. Unlike me, who doesn't even... I've never read a Moira McTaggart comic. I remember her from the movies, and so it didn't really matter to me. So it depends on how much you care. Want black Batman villains? Open the comics. Yeah, they exist? Okay, then they exist. Thank you, Yellow Spider guy. I wish I was reading back when that came up. Clear bro. Are you saying I'm a clear bro? Like, I'm clearly a bro? Jason Fox is Black Batman. Well, I don't care for Black Batman. Bruce Wayne is Batman. If we want someone with dark skin to be a comic book title, like, solo character, cast, or create independent of Batman. And I will ride for it. Because I bought the Static Shock comic books. The Static comics from Vita Ayala that recently came out. It's Lucius Fox's son. No, yep. It would be Free State? What's it called? Future State. Studios don't give real black characters enough shine. They'll race swap other characters and whitewash others. And how does that help us? Years from now, the black comic book characters are the same level they are always. Guys, the top 20 Marvel superheroes feature 2 black characters. One is Storm and one is the Black Panther. We will never get at a point where Blade, where Monica Rambeau Spectrum, where Luke Cage will never get to a point where they pierce that top 20. We will never get there with Falcon piercing that top 20 unless they get solo movies where they are the lead. That's happening with Mahershala Ali. That is transformative. That is an impactful step forward that they're doing to combat their history of straight up a lot of white folks dominating their media appearances. They are doing it successfully in some aspects. And I call out when they don't. Let's see here. Black Batman villains Firebug, who they race swapped as white. Well, that's not black. A Black Spider, who they race swapped as Sorry, it's not a good outing for for Batman. Yes, in a comics run. Hey, does Batman have like characters who are diverse from other places that because white and black are two of maybe our go-tos when we were having this discussion, but like the other places, Ra's al Ghul, that sounds like it's a Middle Eastern Arab name, maybe? Is he? They can show off their talents from original black characters. Capitals. I can get behind that. Lucius has such history with the Waynes that yes, Morgan Freeman did play him in a movie. Yeah, so they got him. That's just the reality. I love Ironheart, Riri Williams, but do you really think her movie would sell well? Are you kidding me? Iron Man was such a big brand. Just by having iron in her name, it could have a fighting chance. And she's going to appear in the Black Panther movie, so she'll have familiarity with the audience. Yes, it's what happened with the Black Panther. He was in Civil War, and then he got his solo movie. It can work. I'm not Skiddy Skids too. I'm not a doubter. Eve Ewing's run better than Bendis. What happened with the Black Panther film was that the character was introduced before his solo film in a well-established franchise. I just finished saying that, yeah. Black Panther had a lot of hype behind it across all markets. That's only one part of it, though, and not the sole reason. You are right, because the word of mouth of that Black Panther movie was crazy. Like, it was 5 weeks in the theater and still the #1 movie. It was a February release, so yeah, there's not going to be much competition. But shoot, that thing was a juggernaut. The god, which is why I said I don't care about stupid retcons. Magneto's retcon didn't contradict anything about his origin. It established it. I love her 2018 run, but it isn't hard to accept it. It wouldn't sell well as a D-tier Iron Man arc. Damn, that's harsh. My second comment there was in reply to my first. I got that. Yeah, I got that. And then where am I? You realize Ironheart is not the only black comic book character, right? Yellow Spider Guy, you realize Ironheart is all one word. It contradicted a lot of things in my opinion because Claremont clearly used the Jewish retcon to help make his Magneto redemption arc during the 80s make more sense. Okay, so what? He wasn't always Jewish? He was something else? Huh. I thought Ms. Marvel was better than a lot of the MCU shows. Her character came along after I stopped reading, but I like her background, almost Spidey-esque. They say that she's this generation's Spider-Man. I don't like when people say that because Spider-Man is such a high pedestal to put on. Why say that she's the next Spider-Man? Why say she's this generation Spider-Man? Too much of it welcomes disagreement, and I don't want that. She's the first Kamala Khan. She's a great teen hero. Why is the role of Kang in the first place instead of a black comic book villain on the same level? Why? Because that's how they think. The second sister is human. Reva wasn't the first human Inquisitor. Ah, I got him with the Star Wars knowledge. That would be... Was the second sister in the video game? Was that who? Yeah. Jaded says, when Iron Man first came out, the general audience didn't know who he was. If Tony Stark was played by a black actor, 90% of the audience wouldn't have known he was being race swapped. But he was. And then when they do the universe all over again, they're going to cast somebody white to be Iron Man because, we casted a black Iron Man that time, but, he's originally white. We tried something new that time. And then all the black fans are going to say, what? Why did they change? So he wasn't even black to begin with. All this love, all the merchandise that I bought, all of the care, he's a white guy originally. He'll never be black, or he won't be black again for this next universe. This sucks. You could have got somebody black to play somebody black. I know that ended up You guys are just talking to yourself, bruh. Namor was the first mutant in comics, and Sabinor was the first in the lore. I'll say Selena's a close second. But if he was living on a mutant island, wouldn't the mutant be the first mutant? If you guys read Free Comic Book Day this year, you'll notice that there were mutants. And Odin, back when there were the Avengers a million years ago, he allowed Druig to kill all of these mutants a million years ago. Would Moon Girl as a brand be hurt if they introduce her as part of the Fantastic Four? No. Nope. She lives on Yancey Street. She's Moon Girl. She has dark skin and puffy black hair. Awesome. Like that wouldn't change anything. I'm asking this because she's part of them for a while and even lives on the same street as them in the comics. Storm, Monica, Misty Knight are my top 3 Black Marvel females. Misty Knight ahead of Riri Williams, ahead of Shuri. T'Challa, Luke Cage, and Blade are my top 3 black males. I wouldn't have Luke Cage there. Who am I thinking of? Black males. So you got Black Panther, Blade. There's got to be someone else. I would put Falcon right above Luke Cage. I would put Falcon. I'm saying these black Batman villains were originally black in the comics, and they changed them to being white later in the comics. Oh, I read that wrong. I read they were white characters who they changed to black. My mistake. But they changed them to white later on. That's an odd step in the different direction. So they should unrace swap them back to black. Okay. I always thought Riri should have been James's Rhodes' sister. I don't think Kamala is the next Spidey, just as she's a teenager dealing with teenage stuff and dealing with new powers, etc. Yeah, that's the way I think of it too. Also, Star Wars MCU OG. Yeah, and Odin was smashing the Phoenix. I like Falcon, Night Thresh, and War Machine too. Yeah, but they're not. Yeah, but they are. Your 3, your 5, and your 6. I got Luke Cage at 4. Made it to the ending of these comments. So thanks everyone for listening. Anyone who's watching on the replay, I appreciate you too. That was good conversation with people we disagreed with, but we also respected a lot. Yada yada yada. You know how YouTubers all got to do that. Doesn't matter because we're still all friends. Kumbaya. Yeah. Okay. Closing out with my thoughts on the Black Panther movie. It is a movie I'm not going to pay money to see. I can't afford to fund this decision. I know that the only thing that these studios listen to is money. And if they go, oh, well, we didn't make that much money on the second movie, I guess what we got to do is recast. I guess we're going to have to crack open that multiverse. We're going to cast somebody to be T'Challa in the Secret Wars movie when all those universes have some incursions. And then he'll continue in the main universe when whenever what happens with Secret Wars ends and they save the day and then the universe resets, it'll be like, okay, now he's still T'Challa, and T'Challa, the words T'Challa will be a household name. The branding of T'Challa, even though he's a different guy, it'll still build the legacy of that comic book character, which is what I want to happen. Have a good day. That's right. Came late, wasn't expecting the stream, but this was fun. D Diesel, it was great. We did Black Panther, and then we did the debate. Yellow says, see your point with Green Lantern, by the way. I appreciate you for sticking here because you've been here since the beginning, yeah? And Richado too. Thanks for joining the channel, Richado. You're popping up a whole lot. Like, I'm used to getting Diesel. I'm used to getting some of these jaded fanboy, but like, shoot, you're all over the place nowadays. They'll cast Tom Cruise. I looked at the new creative team for Moon Girl's upcoming ongoing, and I felt the same way you did when you made a vid about Ms. Marvel Beyond the Limit a while ago. Yeah, they don't hire actual good comic book writers. They get like freaking novelists and people who aren't experienced to do black characters. Instead, you got to get your top tier talent. Okay. I've been Shilmanga. I love you all. I like you all. I thank you.